Hello and welcome to the Pokemon Sword and Shield Spoilercast from us here at GigaBoots. This is going to be both a really long discussion of the game that'll include spoilers and also a review. We're going to each give it, the four co-hosts, a score out of 10. We have with us the crew as usual, Bob from GigaBoots.
Pika Pika.
Mr. Feel from Mr. Feel's Wild Ride.
Hello.
And KZ from KZExcellent.com.
You.
That was an impressive Pokemon sound. I'm Dan Video Games, and I would probably go if I were a Pokemon. That's probably...
I should have done the best one.
I fucking hate that one so much.
What are you talking about? I'm going to be more mad about that than anything else that's said on here.
God, it's so alarming. I'm glad that one didn't want to go on vacation.
It's so good.
I have to side with KZ on that. That's a good one. I like that sound.
Yes.
I'm going to blow everyone's mind. They're all bad.
Whoa!
Except Pikachu and Eevee have real voices.
Jesus fucking Christ, Bob.
We're gonna have a real conversation here.
Yes,
I feel like we need to get these numbers out front. For those who haven't listened to one of these before, we state our numbers at the beginning out of 10. And then at the end of the spoiler cast, after a pretty long discussion, one might say gruelingly long discussion, we will have to lock in our scores. So let's go ahead and give our vaguely two sentence review and our numbers. We're going to go ahead and start with KZ Excellent. KZ, what did you think of Pokemon Sword and Shield?
Pokemon Sword and Shield is the first Pokemon game in years in which I enjoyed playing it throughout and actually played beyond like the ending for it. It made me realize how much I disliked playing things on the 3DS since I actually had a desire to continue going through it. I liked the focus on the gym challenge, everything with that. There was a lot less of an actual plot going on until the very end, which, given that I thought most of the plots in the previous games were lame or shit their pants, made me enjoy this one a lot more. That being said, there's some parts where you can see how much they ran out of time on top of some performance issues, so I can't give it like super high marks. Currently, I'm feeling like an 8, but that could move. But I'm going to put an 8 on it for now.
Okay, Mr. Feel?
I feel like this game is pretty much equivalent to Sun and Moon, except it's not on the 3DS, so it gets a buff, but it's also worse in strange ways. So it gets a debuff. So
this is getting as complicated as the catch rate formula, Feel.
Yeah, I think we should just disable all Pokemon games.
Does it have stab or not?
I'm gonna give it an 8 like KZ did.
Okay. Bob, how are you feeling?
Most of the way through the game,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, I got a lot of problems the way this is, but I'm still kind of enjoying this. I'd probably rate it 7 until I got to around the 6th gym. And then after that, it got so bad in every single way. It's a 5. Like, the story literally is dropped off a cliff. All the budget's gone. And I started hating everything for like the next 8 hours. I'm like, that's not a good way to end an RPG. I'm done.
Okay.
I honestly don't know if I'm buying another Pokemon game for a long time.
Okay.
But the real one's coming out next year.
Yeah.
I want to believe that.
Big one, Bob. You have to see how they turn Sinnoh into a straight line. We got to see it.
If they ship the game that is titled The Real Pokemon Sword next year, I'm gonna croak.
They literally, they can't do 2 of them like last time. They're like, okay, we can make Sword a full game. We can't do Sword and Shield.
Ultra Sword and Ultra Shield.
Okay. So my thoughts on Pokemon Sword and Shield is that I think the concepts of the wild areas is really the highlight of this game. I think the large open environments for you to travel from one area to another is fantastic, and the huge variety of Pokemon you could come across in those areas is really cool. Unfortunately, the huge variety of Pokemon and the huge level scaling that occurs in each wild area, of which there's technically 2, but it's really all 1, because they gate you at the bridge at the beginning there, kind of makes it trivializes the difficulty of the rest of the game in a way I don't think any Pokemon game has to date. Also, it gives you a huge variety of types, which also helps it do that, in that you can build a pretty rounded team really early on. I didn't find myself coming across new routes and being like, finally, we're here. I can get a Pokemon of this type, because you can get most of it in the wild area. The divide in scope, the huge chasm of scope between the wild area and the routes is glaring. And I can't help but wonder if the game was supposed to have a scope more like the wild areas treated as routes at first. And then it just became, well, we got one major wild area down. The rest of it is going to be routes. And routes in this and the building, singular, they all have a hyper-linear feel that older Pokemon games didn't really have. You had a lot more open areas, a lot more varying routes, directions to take through stuff. It felt like a level that was designed, whereas most routes and everything in this feel like a hallway. It was very Final Fantasy 13. I'm going to go ahead and give this game a 7, and I also sit with Bob on... I don't know what they would have to tell me about the next Pokemon game to make me confident that it was a really good experience, because I was pretty disappointed by the routes in this, and then once you get to the last 2 gyms, I was so disappointed. So I guess we'll start our conversations with that. How disappointed are you two by gyms 7 and 8, which is hallway and room?
Yeah, that was pretty. Here's not only room for Raihans. They
room
couldn't
you've
even
been to.
It wasn't even a new room.
There's a level. There's a level beyond that you two are missing, forgetting.
What, that they warp you into a room?
They couldn't even make 3 distinct NPCs.
Yeah. No. It was...
battle these my 3 students, and 2 of them are just twins.
Yeah.
Raihan, a real fan of environmental abilities and twins.
You gonna blame their parents now?
And since all 3, I think there's 2 girls and 1 guy, or is it 2 guys and 1 girl?
I think it's 2 girls and 1 guy, but it kind of bleeds together.
Even
I was like,
considering
cares?
all 3 have the same hair color and glasses that look exactly the same, it makes Raihan seem really weird.
Yes. It comes
These
off
are my
as...
students. They're all identical.
They too are genetically breeded to be superior. Okay, Raihan, we don't really have time to cover this. Speaking of which, in my brief review summary up front, I didn't have time to cover there is no main plot until the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's one of my bigger issues.
All the adults are handling this right now. Don't worry about it.
They're not, what, doing nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're handling all of the there's no plot until one night the fucking rich guy does Quaaludes and gets really fucking crazy, calls over your brother to help him get through it, and then decides tomorrow I'm gonna blow up the fucking stadium.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That dude just hangs out. Sometimes he's in his boxers with slip-on shoes and a hat.
For most of the game, I assumed the assistant was going to be the actual villain, because the first time I saw him in that outfit that he wears normally, I'm like, this dude is a
dumb.
Fucking jackass. He must just
idiot.
be like, he must be like the Homer Simpson-esque moron, and she's actually running things. I don't want to jump ahead, but I just thought that Oleana would be the villain at first, because he's like walking around in a Hawaiian shirt and his underpants.
I mean, they make it obvious that that's one of the ways they could go. Like,
right.
She is really played up as that obvious stereotype.
Yeah. What are you talking about? The cold-hearted, incredibly stern-faced lady is a stereotype?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I'm just making things up here.
I've never seen that.
We call it stereotype the steppy.
No, that's a Pokemon this gen.
That was a Pokemon last gen.
Oh, I know. I'm
almost
just saying
every gen now.
that Pokemon's just hanging around stepping for anyone.
She's just a lower version of Lusamine in the last game, as far as that goes.
Wait, the Pokemon or Oleana?
Oleana.
Oh, okay.
I kind of think they're going for different things, but yeah, they clearly pretty much fill the same role.
Yeah, it's so insane. I spent most of this game wondering what, in classic Pokemon fashion, what world issue it was going to be about. And there just seemed to be the lightest hint of environmentalism through like the Ghost Corsola and other things throughout the game. And then the ending is, we need sustainable energy. I'm going to kill everyone.
Hey,
Yeah, it was the,
they only have 1,000 years left or whatever they fucking said.
Yeah,
They
it was
have to
1,000
do it
I was
years.
trying. Okay, KZ brought it up. Why did they have to give him the absolute dumbest possible fucking motivation? You can't. If it had been 50 years away, maybe I'd have gone, yeah, that's pretty far, but he's, that's still pretty close. But 1,000 years, who fucking cares? He seems like an idiot.
So
Like, why does it need to be today?
And there's the other issue, right? Of if the whole game's message is we need to try harder for the future and be sustainable, why is the villain the guy who's too proactive? Like, I don't. The game ended with, we really should try to make tomorrow a better place, but not as hard as that guy. Like, that's a really
Let's
shitty.
lock that guy up.
That's a really shitty message.
If I was to describe my feelings on Rose as the main villain, it's that he's just as terrible as Lysandre, but his face doesn't make me upset because of how stupid he looks.
What a bar.
Dude, looks all right aside from the facial hair.
There was a pretty long period of time where I didn't think Rose would actually be the villain. So for that alone, he's better than Lysandre, who just walks into frame looking like a fucking Final Fantasy boss and
The
goes,
singularity.
we must purge those.
X and Y.
He's the X and Y.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
That
we
guy.
must
Forgettable.
purge those who aren't worthy.
They
and
repurposed.
the guy who introduced you to him is just like, yeah, okay, Lysandre, I didn't think that was weird at all. You just advocating genocide in front of me.
Man, that's pretty cool.
Wow, genocide. I hadn't really thought of that before. Huh. But yeah, I don't know. It's
I would take even that over this. This is
this
literally nothing.
This
game
is
shits its pants worse than either X and Y or Sun and Moon in terms of like having a story. And I'm only counting those two because those feel like the ones where it's like, okay, we're in 3D and we're kind of framing this like it has a more involved story than the previous
Look at your
games.
trainer's face.
As he T-poses.
I'm glad that's still in.
there's a
Because
reason.
I wore sunglasses 90% of the time, so it just looks like I'm like, yeah, this ain't cash money.
And Dan played as Ryan Gosling, so
Yes.
Chairman Rose turned around to battle him and he just saw the Only God Forgives poster.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
you start
exactly.
the battle against him, and they play the most not Pokemon music of all time.
But yeah, I have to agree. This started to make me rethink where I'm putting X and Y in my scale of Pokemon stories. I realized somewhere near the end of this game, I was like, I'll take the immortal guy. That was insane.
I like
and made
the
no sense.
designs in
You're
this
like,
so
hey,
much
see,
more
maybe
than
I'm too tough on it.
so much more than X and Y. Like, it's hard for me to separate the characters involved in the story from the story. So this still ranks above X and Y for me.
See, here's the thing, right? Like, I think, and let's like, this is a good way to take. I be positive about the game because I need to stress there are things about this game I really like, which is why I led with the wild areas, because I really do like things about the wild areas, and especially the character designs. Like, every character design in this is really good.
Is a slam dunk.
Yes. I think every gym leader has a really good design. I think most characters have a really good design, and that only magnifies how disappointing it is that Sonya does jack all.
And then
stuff
they act
that.
like she did a bunch. It's like,
Exactly.
you had 2 conversations with me and you got your fucking doctorates. Wow. The fucking state of this country's education system.
Excuse you, she gave me a lot of revives, and they were very helpful.
Everyone did, because everyone has the God-given ability to heal Pokemon with the touch of their flesh. It's really fucking weird.
Everyone has potions.
It's happening nonstop. How many times did it happen on the elevator?
They're like fake masks that are all Nurse Joy.
Oh God.
I think Hop cures your party between every single fight.
Yeah, the elevator happens like 4, maybe 5 times during the charge on Rose Tower.
Which is so strange because there's multiple gyms where it's just do this many battles in a row, you can't recover. But for that, they're like, no, it's too much to expect them to be able to do 3 battles in a row.
Which is weird because I feel like that's why you have potions. Just give me a second to heal after the elevator before Oleana.
I guess they just wanted to keep the pace of hit the next fight, but they didn't want to put you in a situation that you were screwed, which I think is more of a thing if they should probably add difficulty modes to this game.
I think the default difficulty should be something that challenges you, and I feel like, generally speaking, the challenge in Pokemon is an endurance one, not an individual battle one. Like, when you're playing through the game, it's supposed to be, this thing is just an elevator full of people. You need to make sure you're strong enough to get through the entire terrorist headquarters or whatever it is in whatever game. What's up, Bob?
Like, that's the reason moves have PP. Like, you have a certain allotted amount. Like, you're not going to run out all those in one battle.
Right.
Whereas if you have to think about, okay, I will need this move for 3 guys down, you get in trouble.
And that's why pressure as an ability makes sense for a legendary, because you had to work your whole way to the legendary, and then you're fighting it, and you're using twice as much PP per move than normally. But now birds do it. But no, it's
a cool bird.
The difficulty, it is a fucking cool bird. I have the Gigantamax version of Corviknight, so it is a pretty cool bird.
Still don't. Very sad.
Honestly, it's one of the more disappointing Gigantamaxes, to the point where I went, "Are you sure this is the Gigantamax?" Looks it up on the internet.
Some of the Gigantamaxes are great, and the others are like, it's still the same thing, but it's slightly changed it a little bit.
Yeah, it's like its wings are open and there are weird funnels flying around it, like it's almost a Gundam or something. It's fucking weird, and it's kind of hard to notice the funnels
that do the extra attack.
Oh, that's neat. Actually, having bits is neat.
I think the neatest part about well, here's the thing: the bits are neat, but it's really hard to see them.
Yeah, I was looking at Dan do it, and I was like, I don't see those, man. And then he showed me art, and they were in the art, but I was like, okay.
Yeah, they're in the
you
attack.
mainly see them in the raids, because then you'll have like, say you're fighting the giant Corviknight Gigantamax, it'll do its big max attack, but because it has shields, it'll get additional attacks, and it uses the bits for those.
Yeah, see,
so that it's most noticeable in like the boss encounter type of stuff, at least for that Pokemon.
Right, when you're fighting it. When you're fighting with it, it's actually a little bit less noticeable in general. It's a really cool move, though. Corviknight's Gigantamax has an exclusive move. It's the only Pokemon that knows it, and it ignores Light Screen and Reflect.
God.
So my Gigantamax Corviknight has, Mirror Shield? Yeah, it has the Mirror Shield ability. So anytime I take that into a raid, the raid boss just keeps downing its own stats. It's really good.
My favorite Gigantamax form is one that I don't think is even in the game. It's the Toxtricity, which I'm convinced isn't in the game at all.
I'm gonna Google this. I don't think it is, but let me see.
Like, people have hacked and it's in, but the fact that they are prioritizing in terms of raid sightings a few Pokemon until mid-January.
It might just be so low that
it's probably incredibly low.
It's like the fucking spirit shit, Bob, where it's like, you have a greater chance of encountering these spirits on the spirit board. They're gonna do it like a mobile game. For between this time and this time, you have more of a chance of finding this Gigantamax Pokemon.
Great.
I got incredibly bummed about Gigantamax because, one, I think it's cool that if some get big, they get a cool epic form added to them, which made sense because they gave most of the bosses these things. So it's like, oh, okay, they get big, but they also have this thing where it's like the metal dragon one just turns into a skyscraper. That kind.
I
of
really
thing.
like the Snorlax one, which also appears to not actually be in the game.
But my problem with it is that they came out ahead of this game saying they wanted to make sure that you would be able to get competitive, get your Pokemon that you used competitively viable. So there are mints you can pick up in the post game through the battle tower to change your nature, get everything adjusted the way you want. However, Gigantamax Pokemon and the ability to do that are only available through specific raids, which means you have to give up the Pokemon you like to get this better one, which goes against the point of what they did for one aspect of the game. So they're clashing together because they want you to do the raids more.
Yeah, I mean, they also have the hyper training stuff, so they clearly very much care about you taking the Pokemon you found in the game and turning it into the exact competitive Pokemon you want outside of Gigantamax.
Yeah, Gigantamax seems like it's so just tacked on. Like, I don't... Like, why is it there?
Gigantamax feels like it really felt like, okay, we want to do this. Oh, shit, that isn't viable. We can't make one of these for, like, even every top evolution. Let's just make them big.
So about that, I want to talk about, so... There's no way talking about this. So,
Oh no!
you know, when you think about the amount of polish that should go into a Pokemon, you would think the starters and the legendaries would be it, right? Like, you know, Eternatus has its really cool animation for that one move. Like, it's crazy over
For
the
the
top,
cannon,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it
that's
looks like something you'd see in a Trigger anime for some reason.
That thing does fucking looks like it came out of Promare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. So I chose Grookey when I started the game, and it eventually became Rillaboom. When Rillaboom goes Dynamax and uses any move, any grass-type move, it starts its normal attack animation of beating its drum insanely fast. It gets 2 hits on the drum, starts swinging for the third, and freezes perfectly in place as a green sphere appears in its stomach and flies out.
What?
It is the worst looking shit in the world.
Yeah, no, every time Dan does it, I just burst out laughing. It's just too much.
I'm like, shut up.
So are you trying to tell me that Grookey got the worst, like, signature move?
I'm like, shut up. I love my monkey boy. Stop laughing at him. Honestly,
I
yeah.
have not seen that.
It's so bad.
I mean, there's a lot of people being stuck in the frozen time in this game.
Yeah.
Like, inexplicably, the world freezes when you get on a ladder. You
Yes.
fucking activate the
Yes.
world when you touch
It's
a
really
ladder.
good.
Yes. No, that cracked me up.
I
when
don't
Bob
know why
pointed that
Game
out.
Freak had to put a character flipping a coin at the bottom of, I think, the only ladder you have to go on in a route.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I think they're, like, throwing Pokeballs up near that canyon area,
Mhm.
and it's just staying there in the air. And I'm like, this is delightful.
Mr. Rhyme used his stand.
Yes.
What stand do you think it was that made them think it would be a good idea to have a concert that implies a character is singing, not have any vocals, but have a crowd cheering and mic sounds?
I hated that so much. Like, everything near the end of this game literally hurt. It was like, oh, you thought that was okay?
No, Bob, it's a really destitute city, so it's one hallway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like a beat 'em up. You beat the trainers and then the arrows, like, go that way.
Here's
why
the
is-
thing, real quick, before we move on from the song specifically, and Bob, you should absolutely go on the rant you were about to go on. In 5th gen, version 2, Black and White version 2 had spoken songs. It had lyric-filled songs in English.
In Gym 2.
I don't
Yeah,
I don't understand why we're not holding up to the production values of a DS game.
This is one of the biggest franchises in the world. How can you not have enough to get music made? Like, why does all the music sound bad? Why is there not able to get a freaking vocal track?
I mean,
I don't agree with the music sounding bad at all.
Yeah, I
actually
like
really
most of the music
soundtrack
in
for
this game.
some of the compositions are good, but the quality of instrument
Yeah.
samples is really bad, to the point where Jim Ratgazer was on the couch losing it during raids because of the steel drum sound. And I'm like, look, I know it's really bad.
It's like, why is
There's
this
some
still like
type of
8-bit?
quality to the sound that I do agree that's like, I like the songs, but there is this feeling. I was talking about it with you before we started playing it, where I was like, the sound effects seem a little either compressed or something.
Yeah.
And there's something about the sound that generally feels
Have you listened
compressed.
to outside the game? Because is it another Astral Chain situation where they just gutted their own music?
It's 100% that, but the sample quality is still really low for all the songs. Like
Right.
it's not actually orchestrated. It's not recorded originally for this.
Like imagine any music of this quality showing up Mario Odyssey. That would sound like a joke.
Bob, what if you got to New Donk and they're like, time to do the musical number, and then there was a fancy cutscene and Pauline just mouthed. She didn't actually sing anything.
That was another thing. Like, this shit looks even worse because Nintendo seems to be pushing our big games have a vocal song in them.
I mean, fucking
as,
they debuted
like a thing.
They debuted a fucking ad that had a song for this game.
Yeah.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
Like
They do that with a lot of like I remember Let's Go. They did something like that for original Pokemon Go. Whenever they first debut them, they have some incredibly generic like song that plays. And I assumed it was just for the ads, and it totally was, where it's just, this doesn't sound like a Pokemon thing, but let's go on an adventure.
Yeah. But Bob, you were gonna say some stuff before we went off on sound quality and
that
corners.
Marnie's hometown.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're in England, right?
Yeah.
Why is that just an abandoned shopping arcade in Japan?
I think
You
it was
can't take the Japan out of Pokemon, Bob, as much as we try.
Which is why when I point out to people there's an Indian Pokemon and the game's about curry, as we're talking about England, they go, but that's Japanese curry. And I'm like, I know, right? And they're like, yeah, so I debunked you. And I'm like, no, sweetie, that's not.
Yeah, and the whole thing's based on like curry in Britain, because that's apparently a thing.
Oh, yeah, because,
that's a big thing.
as it turns out, England had a bit of a thing with India. So they took a bit of stuff back from there and brought it
like
to
their
like
entire
Kaparaja.
cuisine, because
They
normal
took the
British
Kaparaja
cuisine makes
back
you
and it's fine.
suicidal.
I do love the amount of people who are like, the Kaparaja is implying the next game's going to take place in India. And I'm like, or it's an Indian elephant in England because...
Or it's a reference to horrible colonialism.
Right? Exactly. I just...
What? In Pokemon, never.
And yet we're getting articles
Don't you think
that
you're
are like...
being a little too realistic?
Yes? I don't know how
Okay,
to
good. I
answer
just wanted to make sure. Just wanted to make sure so the audience knows.
But yeah, like once you start hitting the end, and like for one thing, like just focusing on the vocal performance, like we were talking about, and Marnie's hometown, Spikemuth. The opening of the game, they put enough quality into like we're gonna get the camera really close to the models, we're gonna show their faces dramatically, and there's no spoken words. Like that was really weird. Then when it happened
Those should be voice acted.
when it happened during the gym, that was just a whole nother level of, why do you keep doing this? What are you doing, man? It's I never would have been like, I need Pokemon to be voiced. Like I've never thought that personally, but when you do that with the camera and the cutscenes, like the cutscenes are just high enough quality in this to show they didn't finish them. Like everyone throughout the story just stands around and doesn't really have any major actions with their character. Hop plays the same I'm excited animation 300 times. Like they don't, for a
Hop
game
with his fucking face.
For a game his that is kebabs and his
Fucking DreamWorks face.
his snakes.
And like for a game that has content hallways like it's Final Fantasy 13, it's really staggering that the routes they aren't dynamic. Nothing's happening to the routes.
They're also locked in a time of day for everything. Like,
are they?
I'm trying to figure out if
It's just
how it works.
It's just wild area. And sometimes the town will force, like sometimes when you're going through the game and the city is like, we're gonna make it night now to force you to go to the inn to set up the next story point.
That does happen, yeah.
Yeah, it seems random almost.
I think there's a couple other routes that have weather, but I don't think it changes what time of day it is.
I can like check and see if they have like nighttime stats for the routes, which may mean that Postgame opens that up. So I'm not too sure.
Yeah. So like,
You want to talk about how there's only 3 non-root dungeon type areas in the game?
There are 3?
Yeah, there's Gallermine 1, Gallermine 2, and then that like forest thing with mushrooms.
But the forest
those
one is
just
just a
roots?
root.
The mines are just a root.
they're not
Like, there's
literally
nothing-
called
No,
roots,
they're called
but-
Gallermine 1 and Gallermine 2.
So
There's
in a,
nothing-
Glimwood Tangle.
in a
there's
normal
nothing like
Pokemon
the,
game that's finished, those would have been caves that you explored and had roots through that were intricate. It is virtually
You
a
sound
whole-
like someone who knows what happened in the past.
I
Even
do sound
comparing
like
to
someone
Sun
who's
and
played
Moon.
a lot of Pokemon, over 1,000 hours, in fact. I enjoyed this
I
franchise.
think you might be an experienced person. Also, yeah, there's no time of day in roots. They only just have encounter rates for grass and overworld. So it's just wild areas.
So this is since Gen 3 that feature has been in the series, and there's like
No,
sorry,
Day and Night was Gen 2.
Gen
So
2,
what
but they
we're
locked
saying,
in 3.
what we're saying here is the Pokedex, the full Pokedex isn't here, and there's no day night. This is Gen 3 again.
Oh, so it's good.
That you can take that away. I'll let you walk away with that. That's fine.
Yay.
I feel
Even
like
compared to Sun and Moon, like
Mhm.
that they still had like go do this totally separate area to stop Team Skull.
Yeah, no, getting to the Team Skull like hideout, I have to compare that directly to getting Marnie's house and being like, oh, this is a single room. Team Skull had a city.
Yeah, they had a town. They had their little Pokemon Center where they actually, I think, charged you, and then you could buy their outfit and everything.
Yeah,
This really does feel like they just didn't finish it.
I mean, yeah, it really feels like this
have to
needs more
assume-
time. I don't understand how this happened.
There's the faintest hint that there was supposed to be some kind of actual story thing with Marnie and her town where it's like, and that might go into an arc that a character might have.
Right, yeah.
Right.
I was
Instead,
expecting
Marnie's
that.
not even in the like post game, which is insane. Like,
yeah, but
Yeah,
like,
they keep mentioning her as like, oh no, I gotta go protect her. They're like, don't worry, you can't Dynamax over there, so it doesn't matter.
yeah, that was pretty funny in my opinion.
They're like, that place is too poor to actually have the big guy stuff, so we don't actually have to include it in any of the post game.
It was weird because the hour-long post-game, like the post-story, had the most character development and was the worst content-wise, because it's like, go to the forest you've already been to. Go to the gyms you've already been to.
Here.
Go back to the forest you've already been to.
Sounds like you don't like
300 more
traveling and
times.
adventure, Dan.
Fight the Bogdanov twins.
I like those guys.
I would like to note, I was on Twitter.
Swordsbert and Shieldbert.
Not going to name names, but I was on Twitter and I'm seeing someone who's like, sure, they reused Hop's animations, but look at the delicate care they put into the kebabs. And I'm like, that's just jiggle physics. And at the game, I'm at the point where I'm meeting those two with their fucking jiggle hair and I'm losing it. I'm like, this is real.
Those delicately animated hairs, you mean?
Yeah, they were animated per follicle.
Tress FX, I believe it's called.
Only on Switch. It has like NVIDIA green text.
And then the game just crashes when they show up on screen.
Oh no, their hair touches and crashing. But yeah, I actually, I really wish
They're celebrities.
the plot writing of that part of the game was better, because the character writing I think is actually pretty good. Like but then plot wise, you have to deal with, here's my new assistant. She has no name. How could you betray me, no name assistant?
I gotta go. They're celebrities.
It was like 4 minutes long.
Yeah.
Pierce gets the most time in it. It's weird. He's the best character in this game, I guess.
Yeah, isn't that fucking weird?
No.
Pierce? Yes.
No.
Okay, who's the best character in this game? Go.
Speed.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
I mean,
He has an arc, something no other character in this game has.
Pierce has an arc. He says, hey, I'm really glad I helped you stop this event. Don't call me ever again.
He's Beat or Beta, whatever his name is, effectively appears enough as a rival and changes enough where I'm like, yeah, I like everything going on here. There's a tangible change. You're in a different place than when you started.
He feels like a character they wrote realizing that you have to beat their ass every single time they come at you, which I don't feel like any of the friendly rivals are ever written acknowledging.
I feel like most characters in this game don't really have development on the scale of Bede. But I don't think Bede is a masterfully written character. Like, I don't think it's good enough, but it's probably one of the best characters in this game. Like Bede and Piers, which is weird because I always hear about Hop and Marnie, and both of those characters are so one note and don't really develop enough for me to.
But Marnie is tsundere, man.
Is she?
I'd say Marnie is the weakest one. I'd say Marnie's like the weakest of your rivals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, her and freaking Hop are just nothing.
In anticipation of this, I tried to think about, like, of the rivals, what would be the better ones in general in terms of what they do in the game, their effect, how they change. I don't think anything happens to her at all.
Yeah, no.
It feels like it was cut.
Like Hop, at the very least, you have, like, he's trying his best to become like champion and everything, and he's like, all right, I lost, I'm gonna keep trying. And then eventually he's like, yeah, there's no way I can fucking win. And then just goes, fuck it, I guess I'll try something else.
Yeah.
Marnie, it feels like they were going to have some kind of plot revolving around her town being poor that was just not in the game.
Right, it felt like the enemy team would do something other than act as content gates.
Okay, so let me say something real quick. Both Marnie and Hop have character details and backgrounds that are set up to have really good character arcs. For example, and I'm not saying I expected this from the game, it's only something I further ruminated upon when it came to my disappointment with Hop's character as a development. His brother is a famous guy, covered in advertising, working with the corporate, elitist. I thought there was going to be a moment where the bigger brother he looked up to, there's a missed opportunity, rather, because as I said, I didn't really expect it. I just expected something to happen with this character where I'd be like, okay, this is where we're taking that. But like a moment where he loses faith in his brother or sees him for who he is and maybe stops feeling like he's an unattainable god.
Yeah, that could have been neat.
And the same thing with Marnie, where it's like, oh, she comes from this town. Maybe something's going to be up with that town when we finally go there, or there's going to be a bit more backstory, a bit more developed, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to see what celebrity, her celebrity status has caused her. But no, it's just, yeah, they're kind of annoying. And I feel like neither of those characters develop in interesting ways.
See, once I got to the town, I assumed it was just like, this town is poor and sucks. One of their people actually got into the gym challenge, so all these hicks are gonna follow her around, causing trouble. But you don't even find that out until the end, and then nothing happens.
Yeah, nothing happens. That's how I felt. I mean, Hop has his micro development of it's the worst thing in the world, because this is the sentence they used to deliver the conclusion of his arc. He goes, I've been sitting here just trying to be better than you and my brother, and meanwhile you and Sonia both did your own thing and were successful. And I'm like, what the fuck did Sonia do, dude?
She wrote a book.
I'm sorry, she's a professor now. She has a new coat.
She has a new coat and is a professor because she wrote a book about how awesome you are.
Yeah. It was a good book. Some
also,
bad reviews.
Holy shit. The whole fucking arc of, I need to do research. And then she just acts like a tourist. She's like,
hey, what's up? You want some revives? Look at this wall.
Wow. What does it mean?
And Hop loses so many fucking times in this, not even just to you, that I feel like I can't take him seriously. Losing to Bede makes sense because it starts like his little arc. But then it's like, I'll help you with this guy. Loses. He loses to Rose off camera. Rose mentions it half offhand. Hop isn't even there.
Yeah, I feel like on one hand, it's interesting for Hop to lose and you didn't even get to see it. But on the other hand, it just comes off as, in a game with so many corners that are cut compared to prior entries in the exact same franchise, it just feels like they couldn't find somewhere to slot this moment.
I'd love to see a breakdown of how many times you fight Hop compared to how many times you fight other rival characters. I feel like I fought him way too many times.
You fight him more than you fought Vegeta in Black and White.
Stop.
Who are you calling
The
Vegeta?
rival in Black and White 2.
Oh,
I
okay,
didn't play 2. I was like, who the heck is Vegeta?
He's very cool.
I don't know his name, so we can just call him that.
And that's the problem with everyone in this game. Like, we don't get an Elite Four, so instead, we're fighting the gym leaders again and again, and Marnie again and again. It's like you try and end the game with something like the Dark Tournament in UU. Like, that's your big epic thing. And then it's like, who's coming out for this tournament? Oh, it's the 4 Sacred Beats from the last Dark. Like,
Yeah!
Okay. No, that's not okay.
Yako!
It's just frustrating. Like, I like these designs, but it's not a substitute at all.
You battle Hop 10 times by the way.
It feels like more, but that's already a ton.
10's a lot.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you battle Marnie, I think 3 times, including the time.
I'm posting a picture of you one
championship.
moment. Bob needs to see you. That's why I call him Vegeta.
Oh, okay.
Let me get in the
Hugh
Discord.
is his name.
Yeah, Hugh. He's got a bit of Saiyanish hair. I don't know.
Oh, I see. Yeah, he.
I mean, it's impressive that Hop achieved Super Saiyan status at base power level, so now his hair doesn't even turn golden; it just stays like that.
It's pretty rough how that went. Bede you only fight looks like 4 times in the story.
I think
Holy crap.
He stuck it in a mold and then just sealed it with gel, so that thing is just a helmet now.
You did see how his hair looks like actual Hop's, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
That fucking I flipped. I was like, good God, I never would have known. I've never seen how Hops looks.
Yeah, I was wrong. It's 5.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's a lot.
And yeah.
Yeah, well, you fight Bede 5 times, right?
Yeah.
So you fight Hops twice as much.
You fight Hop twice as much. This game doesn't have enough characters.
No,
This game
it
is
has
done.
3
Dude,
of Hop's.
It has enough characters. It doesn't utilize any of them well. Like compare it to Black and White 1, right? You have Bianca and Karen. Okay,
Yeah.
or Sharon, I don't know. Anyway,
Chiren?
you're hanging out with them, and there's also the gym leaders. That's the same situation as this. It's just that like they're not utilized well. Hell, you even have Bede in this, which is one more than, unless you want to count Alder showing up and being like, "Hello, I'm Alder. I'm a badass. See you at the end of the game."
What about
I'm homeless. Please feed me.
That's what his face says, honestly. Random note, because I'm not going to remember to mention it anywhere else. It has nothing to do with this game. It's not a complaint or anything about this game, but Pokemon as a series is about some kid becoming the champion. So why is only one game out of the, I don't know, 10 plus versions of these games, the different generations? Why is it only one version that has a child savant as the champion? That's fucking weird.
Yeah, it's Black and White 2, right?
Yes. I loved that character. That
Gen
was
2 has
delightful.
Red just in the mountainside.
Okay, Red.
It's a monk. And then
Red-
Gen 1 is blue, so he's your age.
And if you want to count Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, because they switched out
but here's
Fukui for How.
Okay, I actually have not played Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon, so I if that is the case, then I'm sorry, I didn't know that. But technically, Bob,
Yeah.
Red is not the champion.
No, he's better.
It's true. He's an ascetic.
That's correct. Isn't the champion Lance?
I mean, dragon types are cool.
I mean, if
Yeah, I have multiple of the same one.
yeah, dragon type champions were kind of shitty until Black and White 2, I think.
I'm not gonna make an offhand comment. I don't want to be wrong.
That's a top 10 statement. I'm not gonna say this. I won't be wrong.
There are too many gym leaders and
Coward.
fucking champions and elite fours for me to say like, yeah, Dragon type sucks. Look,
What,
all like
Lance is a cool dude.
Look-
He was one of the first.
Dragon
Okay.
types have been getting progressively worse as the gens go on.
yeah,
Is they do this
I think-
weird balancing thing. I don't get it.
it's fucking weird.
The introduction of fairy type has made it a lot easier for them to get their backs broken.
Yeah, but dragon types are still usually giant balls of stats.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we have an apple now
That apple is raw.
that turns into a different thing depending on the version you played.
Holy crap!
Yeah, that's a neat idea. I kind of like
Yes,
that.
since I played Shield, I get the apple pie one.
It becomes like Appleton or Flapple.
Flapple?
I've not
Yeah,
seen
'cause it
these
gets wings.
evolutions.
Oh, look. Okay,
becomes like
Pull those up.
so
because the base form is a dragon living inside an apple like a worm,
mhm.
and then in one version it becomes a turtle with a pie as its shell, and in the other version it becomes like a bird who broke out of the apple and uses it like a shell.
that's badass.
Actually, here's a better image that shows both. If I can pull this up.
Oh, cool. I like
Oh,
the
that-
apple
that-
pie styling.
That's really weird looking. It's not as weird looking as those fossil
There
Pokemon
you
this
go.
time.
There we go. Oh, that's really
Yeah,
cool. I
Flapple,
really
pretty
like
cool.
that. Okay, so throwing back to you, I don't want to make it a statement, a sweeping statement about Elite Four or gym leaders or champions. Any of them except for Aaron from 4th Gen, the bug type Elite Four, you're a fucking bitch.
Hey, I'm a big fan of Drake. Drake's
one-
pretty cool.
No one is impressed by you, bug type Elite Four member.
There was
What's
a
wrong with bug type
Elite
Elite
Four.
Yeah, wasn't he the ninja?
Gen 4.
No, Gen 4.
No,
Bob,
he has
that's
like
this
is
dude.
he the one with green hair and he has
Yes.
like
Yes.
a fucking
Yes.
ahoge?
Yes. No one's impressed.
Yeah, he sucks.
It's a shame. It's a shame, but he does.
We're all very impressed. Don't be depressed.
Gen
There's
2
the-
had
there's
like the
the-
thing of characters getting promoted, which meant that Koga got put on the Elite form. Like, fuck you, I beat your ass last game. What are you doing here? You aren't nobody. Leave.
I thought that was cool. I was like, what the fuck? How'd you become such a super Chad?
Oh man. I'm losing it over this one moment. Okay.
You remember when they just made Agatha again, but made her a rock trainer and then put her on the Elite Four?
Did they do that? Was that
Yeah,
actually
it's just-
why?
There's just one that's just another old lady that looks somewhat similar.
This game has a good old lady though. I enjoyed the old lady
What,
in
Queen
this game.
Queen Elizabeth?
I feel like Opal's model is more any old British lady.
Sealed beats fate after he bamboozles himself into almost getting arrested.
Oh yeah, remember that part where where the secretary set beat up to get arrested and to get
Yeah, it was
kicked
like,
out of
hey,
tournament?
break this down with his Pokemon. Okay, I did it. Why'd you do that? Fucking coppers, get him.
And then they never really go back to that. It's just like, okay, we did that. We had her seem like she was gonna be the villain again, but then we didn't do anything.
Yeah, it seemed at least
it's
like
called
she was.
foreshadowing.
It seemed at least like she was trying to.
Yeah, it's like the plot twist in Halo 4, Bob, where you realize it's going to be a bad plot. That's a plot twist. Jesus Christ. Jesus.
She has a
Christ.
cool team though. I really enjoyed it.
You know,
The
until
team that was reusing the trainers from something else.
you know, it was until this game, until I finished it and percolated on that. Went, okay, maybe Let's Go was a bad idea. Maybe they should have just skipped last year and just put everybody on this.
They should have. I hope they skip a
I
year.
like Let's Go a lot.
I do
you know,
too.
like I've had the itch to like go back to it and give it another go.
Yeah.
But that being said, if I had the choice to have them have an entire other year to refine this and, you know,
If this
Fin-
game were done,
you know.
it could be really good.
Oh, yeah. No, this could have been a 10 out of
finish
10
this
for
up.
me.
Yeah, my dream thing would be you beat the game and the post game says, all right, there's another city you can go to. We even added a small little extra post-game wild area or something. I think that would have been really neat, because the wild area, while cool, just barely doesn't hit it for me in terms of the new exploration, because all you get is the surfing bike. If there's like maybe rock climbing, there's not enough areas that late game you can only access. There's just
I don't
surfing.
know.
I was gonna say, like,
I don't know why they didn't do what they did in
wild
Sun and
areas
Moon.
could do things like caves. You know, if they could have a cave wild area, because think Pokemon caves, those things are huge and open and labyrinthine. If they could do stuff like that, that would be really cool. If there was a lot more variety in wild areas, that would be a better game. Like, forget the routes, just do giant wild areas. We don't even need 8 fucking gyms. Just have a lot of fucking variety and stuff. Like,
can we talk about how the wild area?
My genuine hope.
What's up, Bob?
Can we talk about how the wild area feels worse than a PS2 game?
You mean the part where the camera can hit up against an invisible wall that's next to a ledge because you're next to a lake, and it can just cram all the way through your character until it's a first-person shooter?
Yes.
It can?
Yeah, no, every wall that's invisible literally stops the camera for no reason.
Are you talking about the part where you can only move the camera vertically up and down anglet 30 whole degrees for whatever reason?
Yes, that's also bad.
Are you talking about the part where the textures look worse than Dragon Quest VIII on the PS2?
Uh-huh.
Are you talking about, do you want to press the plus button to connect to the internet?
No, I don't. No, don't do it, man. Seriously, bad idea.
It's like, oh no, it runs like Sun and Moon on a 3DS now.
It runs like
Does
the photography
resolution
mode
of
in Sun and
everything
Moon.
go down in the wild area?
It definitely has a dynamic resolution, and it starts nerfing the shit out of stuff when trainers start appearing.
Because I was like, wow, this looks so bad.
It's so good. You fucking have 4 Wobbuffets appear behind you, 5 trainers. You talk to one by accident. They're like, Konnichiwa, I'm a Japanese person from the internet. I found a can of beans in my pocket.
I really like the wild areas and the raids, but boy, everything surrounding them and how they were implemented sucks.
Yeah, you can't, like, there's tiny hills that stop you from going over them. It's like...
There's a lot of invisible walling that's a little frustrating. For me, I wouldn't mind how bad it runs in, like, it should be better, absolutely. But it wouldn't absolutely upset me how poorly it runs in the wild areas when you're connected to the internet, if not for the fact that picking up items will hitch for tens of seconds. Like, it gets really fucking bad sometimes.
I went to go spend my watts today, and it took 8 seconds.
I legitimately do not know why they decided they needed the Destiny-ish element of other trainers showing up.
I'm serious. Somebody looked at Destiny and other games as a service that use the like, what do you call that concept? The weird like public area shards.
It's like social places.
The strand system.
The what?
The strand system.
Bob, this isn't the Death Stranding spoiler cast. This is Pokemon. Bob, please wake up.
Even in Death Stranding, you don't actually see other players.
No.
It's
just
but it's like social, like your little social areas. Like Destiny has it. Apparently, the Call of Duty games have it. Some of them
had it. They had it 2 years
ago.
They
cut that out.
Yeah, they cut that out because it just shit its
okay.
pants. It didn't work.
Yeah, I just remember people talking about it, saying they for some reason put that in COD, and I'm like, well, that's popular, I guess.
But yeah, I can see why you would look at Destiny and be like, what if Pokemon was that? That would be intense. But the thing is, like, I can't team up with my friends and go on an adventure. The way the networking works sucks so bad.
Yeah, it's not a good idea. I guess they wanted to make it feel less empty if you have them there, but it does nothing but make it worse.
It's full of Pokemon.
You'll start a raid and your friends can't even, like, see that you've started a raid. Like, the networking is so bad that it just can't do that basic
function. Whoever came up with this, first of all, the stamp system is ugly as shit. Why can't I turn that off?
You want to hear about all this asinine news about people on the internet catching Mr. Rhyme, right?
Yeah.
Why did you not just put I'll join anybody who found a raid. I'll join. Why isn't that just an option?
Because you need to be peeping those pixels and figuring out whether or not something's Gigantamax and only jumping in on those. I know, because every time I've been involved with a Gigantamax raid, fucking randos show up like I'm giving out free blowjobs. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the only thing. That's when you've got like sharks swimming in the water. Like it was that and the pseudo legendary dragon in this, which is the ghost one.
Mm-hmm.
Like I found it and boom, 3 people come in. They're busting out their Zamazentas and Zacians because they want that bad because it's like a 3 or 4% like appearance in one Pokemon Den spot.
The more I interact with this whole raid thing, the more I'm like, I don't think I like any of this.
So here's what I dislike about the raid thing, specifically, as someone who's done a lot of raids so far. I dislike that the shielding system, where you get through so much of its health and then it pops up with shields, really disincentivizes you using offensive Pokemon. Like, your strength ultimately doesn't matter because it's going to cut off whatever damage would have gone beyond that point. And that seems to be a state you're, like, once you level up your Pokemon, that's a state you're always in a raid battle.
It's so much more important to have a Pokemon that won't be one shot by this thing's fucking moves than it is to have anything, to have a big hitter.
Yeah.
Feel like they're close to cracking it.
It feels like something they can refine, but it also feels like they put in a bunch of shit like, don't get clever, we can't balance these for all the different moves.
See, yeah.
So it has 15 different nullifications of everything.
Yeah, it feels like when you run into the world's worst Destiny enemy, and they're like, during this phase, I'm invincible because you motherfuckers are trying to trick me.
Oh, shit, it totally is Destiny bosses.
They
like the bad ones.
It really feels like something will be gone next gen.
Oh, yeah.
Every
I'm
max
sure.
raid, I don't know about the max raids. I think something like those will stay.
I think they're doing another version of this gen, but I think next gen they're getting rid of Dynamax because they do this every fucking time. Like,
yeah, I think
Megas, then Z moves, then this.
I agree that next gen's not going to have giant Pokemon again.
Here's a super Pokemon you fight in a raid. I think that will stay.
Again, I hope they bring back the raids in some way and refine them, because I've had an incredible amount of fun playing with other people and cooperating and going, all right, we'll wait till your turn to do this. You're going to attack with this. You're going to do that. And that's a lot of fun. It's not fun when, you're starting in the early game and someone queues into it and they have a level 80 against this level 10, Metapod that's really big and kills it in one shot. But once you start hitting the 5-star ones, that ends up being a lot of fun.
Yeah, to me, it feels like there shouldn't be any raids below 4 stars, and there should be at least 2 levels of difficulty above 5.
Yes. Yeah, I think there should be level 100, 7-star raids.
Yeah.
That are you're clearly coming in here with the best Pokemon, the best setups, best type coverage, that kind of thing.
I do like that they give you the EXP candy, though. I do appreciate that they're giving
candy
you
is great.
Something that can just superpower.
It's good for filling the Pokedex.
It's good for filling the Pokedex. It's good for, now you don't have to, if you're at the end of the game and like, I want to breed this with a good nature, you don't have to grind for hours. And
I have to wonder if it's like rare candies where if you use those, you're getting a shittier Pokemon than someone that grinded.
I think they might have reversed it. Because it used to be rare candies would just boom level. Now it seems like it gives you that experience.
So true, because it's directly giving you the points instead of just going boom. It's leveled now. So maybe.
And I can't imagine it still has that down thing, because I can't. Game Freak, with all the fucking corners they cut in this game, I can't imagine that they programmed 2 different forms of gaining experience, because you gain experience when you eat curry too.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't imagine they said, no, if you got to level up from the curry, that's a shit level up. Your Pokemon is garbage now.
I don't want to even comment. I don't know.
They could have done anything, man.
They could have done anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I would hope that they didn't do it like that just because of how, they do the big competitive Pokemon tournaments and everything. And I'm sure, making that stuff reasonable seems to have been their goal for the most part with nature mints and the battle tower stuff, that I would hope that they're just streamlining the experience and not making it so, yeah, just fight this specific thing over and over again, or gain the levels in this way, in this manner. But they could have, just because the wild area scales.
Hey,
What's up, Dan?
Hey, Bob, throwback. Your main rival in Pokemon Black and White 2, you only fight him 7 times.
That's a lot, but it's not 10.
Let me see how many times you fought fucking How.
And I'll look up Wally.
Because now I'm curious. Wally like falls off a cliff.
Wally, you fight like
4
3
times.
maybe you fight him more in the remakes when they make him a
they
Chad.
must have.
Yeah, you fight him 4 times in the remakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's really cool.
Just saying he fell off
They gave
a
him
cliff.
a Mega Gallade.
Like, if you know Wally, you know he might have literally fallen off a cliff.
I need to play those remakes.
If you know Wally, you know that he was basically dying halfway through the game.
What a nice lad.
It looks like you fight How 7 times, so it feels like they were like, we don't have time to finish Marty. Just add more hot fights.
Yeah.
Getting that
Like,
stupid fucking face.
and that every single gym leader has the same theme, so we don't even get a special theme for the final battle.
You get unique themes for when you rebattle Marnie, Hop, and Bede, but you don't get new themes for the gym leaders. So you're just hearing that theme about 17 times.
Also, most of the gym leaders that are exclusive, at least in the Sword version, have almost nothing. Like every other gym leader you meet outside of their gym, they do something in the town.
Yeah, they're engaged in the plot at all.
Yeah, that would be too hard.
Yeah.
That'd be too hard.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant with like
it's
their
custom
challenge
content.
that they make you do.
No, he means literally with like, if they do something outside of their gym, that would be plot that they would have to write different for the 2 versions. They do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's why another character shows up to do what they would do, because that character will be in both versions.
Yep, it's really sad and bad, and they shouldn't have done it.
Look, I don't understand in this game with all these cut corners.
I mean, I'm glad we have different gym leaders because it leads to, different boss fights if I, for some reason, was going through the other game.
But why would you?
Why? You could have more boss fights in the game.
You're like, it adds such a modicum of value when I spend $60 more on this game.
No, I mean, if the conversation is they don't have the exclusive gym leaders and they're all the same, or there is some difference. I feel like the tangible difference is the thing. If there's the option of them just putting more stuff in both of them overall, of course I'm gonna pick that.
My experience with unique gym leaders has been, man, I'm so thirsty for this MILF. What? Who? What version do you have? Who are you talking about? Oh, okay, I see. Wow.
Opal?
If you told Game Freak, here's all the stuff you need to make a pool, to build a swimming pool for me, Game Freak, build me a swimming pool, they'd make something that was 200 by 200 feet and a foot deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit, this art of fucking Milo. Holy shit, this fucking
fucking Milo.
This is key
The
artwork
worst
of
gym leader in the game.
of Milo. Look at this fucking shit. I'm dying. He looks like he's 3 feet taller than.
He probably is.
He's blanking out the sun. I'm sorry, I'm losing it.
It's upsetting that, Leon's this ultimate super champion, but he's a manlet.
That's
I like the height
Both
comparison between
Milo
him
and Raihan tower over him.
yeah.
What? Leon's still a child.
Leon's like 30.
Mentally, Bob meant mentally.
I feel like something they could do with the progression of this game, given the fact that they split a good amount of this game into straight lines into circles for the gyms, because they're really close to each other, is let you tackle like the ones on the sides in any order, and then just scale the teams to whatever you're going for.
Yeah, that would have been good. They have scaling.
Oh man,
Yeah,
could you
I've been
imagine?
convinced for a while that they need to scale your rival battles to your level, because it's sad when it's like, I'm fucking 10 levels above you, Hop. You're fucked.
Well, the thing is, before that, usually when you hit new routes, the Pokemon aren't radically higher level. they only go up about 4 levels at a time per
Here it's
route.
like 6+ sometimes.
Here it's like the wild area will get you all the way to level 50, and then you can just steamroll the rest of the game without even thinking.
One thing that really freaked me out, because I didn't do like hardly anything in the wild area, so when I got
Bob
to,
had
like,
a very different experience for me. Go ahead.
when I got to like Route 3, the wild Pokemon are stronger than the trainers Pokemon.
Isn't that weird?
I was like,
Like,
what?
I don't...
Yeah, that's multiple places in the game. It's strange.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You get more experience from the trainer's Pokemon that's lower leveled and easier to kill.
I feel like this game, and I know this gets thrown around as a way to describe stuff a lot, but it really was my experience playing this. This is boneless Pokemon. This is the chicken tender of Pokemon games. Like, there's no real hard difficulty at any point in it. Like, on a micro scale and a macro.
I lucked out, I guess, because I found plenty of challenging moments throughout. Toward the end, I just kind of kept going, and they have the level jumps, I feel like, where you do the preliminary finals where you fight the rivals, and then they're like, all right, go take on Macrocosmos, which is the name of the group you're fighting at the end.
Yeah.
And that, was decent enough. And then I found the gym leader rematches to still have something going on where I was getting wrecked. But the jump between Rose and the champion is 5 levels.
Yeah, the Leon was the only time in the game where I was like, uh-oh.
Where my entire team was at least 2 or 3 below, so everything he attacked me with would kill me in one hit, except for maybe one situation.
He mulched me the first time I fought him. I had to adjust my tactics.
The only way I knew Leon was more difficult than Rose is that he killed the legendary I brought it as a guest star. I was like, here's our guest star for this episode, and then Eternatus got wrecked by him, and I was like, oh, this guy can throw punches. Okay, let's throw out the regulars. It was really funny.
Yeah, when I went through that, every time he brought something out, I went, oh, this is a problem. Oh, that's a problem. Oh, man, his Charizard has a grass move. That's funny.
Oh, I got
the only reason I won was because my my Inteleon, the water starter, was faster, so a Hydro Pump one-shot it. Otherwise, it would have killed me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, the Charizard having that move was the only excitement I got. Maybe the whole game difficulty-wise.
See, I had Rillaboom, so I didn't get surprised.
I feel like there's a couple, like, his Haxorus has a good move set too.
Yeah.
Because I threw out a fairy type one, and it's like, oh, I gave it Steel Tail, motherfucker.
Yeah, of course it did. Of course he did. He needs to fuck you up 3 ways to Sunday with his dragon type.
At least they sought that out. I feel like I had that moment happen several times in this game where they did have like, oh, this Pokemon has a move you don't expect and it actually can be effective.
This felt they did that a lot more than they did in any previous game, I feel like. Did anybody else notice how fucking pointlessly much these motherfuckers heal their Pokemon?
Actually, I felt like it was a lot less than most Pokemon games, because there are some games in the series
they only have one.
But way more do it.
There's some games in the series where a single enemy will literally heal their Pokemon more than once. Like, they come in with 2 hyper potions, and they're like, fuck you, he's good. Oh shit, fuck you, he's still good. So I didn't have that happen.
Yeah, I felt like this is the least amount of healing I've played in a recent Pokemon game, where I was like, oh, yeah, they do heal in boss fights, that's right.
I don't remember them healing in Sun and Moon and X and Y at all, but on the other hand, I might not remember any X and Y. That game is ethereal.
It's ethereal.
There's an immortal guy, he's really cool.
But yeah, his Haxorus actually really brought it, because looking at it, it has a poison move, a steel move, a ground move. He specifically built it to say fuck fairy types.
Yeah, no,
fuck
that's
trying
fair.
to naturally counter him.
Are you here with your fairy type? Fuck you. And I'm like, no, I'm here with my ice. He's like, oh fuck.
All the well, that's what ground is for, isn't it? Or is not?
Are you asking me if ground is super effective against ice?
No, it is not. Look, ice is one of the ones where I start to get lost at ice and steel and dark.
So we're a little over an hour into this. I thought it'd be a good idea because we haven't really mentioned it yet. What was our party when we cleared the game? Like, what's our team?
Let me jump to the title screen. Title screen will show you your team when you beat the game.
I'm just going to use my current
they
team.
forego the actual Hall of Fame thing.
To just be like, you're now title screen Pokemon.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You can change it if you beat it again at post game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does switch it out. I was kind of sad they didn't do and here's the people that made it all the way. Because I always like that part where it's like, you're the champion, big text, they're spinning around in some cosmic realm. But I did think it was neat that the Champions theme is just the Hall of Fame music.
Yeah.
Like they layered that into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I noticed that too.
I wouldn't
like,
say it's my
neat.
favorite Champion theme. I'd say it's around the middle.
I mean, Lance/Red is the best Champion theme in the series so far. It has a pretty sick tone to it. And not that I dislike Cynthia. Cynthia's song is also pretty cool. Also, real power play to walk into a room and the champion's like, oh, I was just playing piano. I'm a very talented bitch. Now, let me ruin your life. Like, that's pretty
what
cool.
about X and Y Champion? That was pretty good.
I can't fucking remember them.
She's an actress. She has big eyebrows.
It's a stupid lady in like an...
I remember in the
I feel
anime,
like
I'm pretty sure I'm right. I might have forgotten.
her name's Diantha, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's her name. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she has big eyebrows. She sucks.
She has
I like
pronounced eyebrows, yeah.
Gen 2 and Gen 3 champion themes a lot because they just feel like the regular Pokemon like themes and battle themes, but they crank the intensity really hard. Whereas I feel like a lot of later champion themes like Gen 5 and Gen 4 are just unique tracks to themselves, which are great, but I kind of like the climactic feeling that kind of Gen 2 and Gen 3 have.
Yeah, no, I feel like...
Did anybody else do Battle Tower?
I did a little bit.
I did.
I on it.
Does it
I'm upset that I didn't
feel like
do
the
it.
lamest post game thing in a while?
Yeah, definitely. It's
Isn't that in like isn't that in all the 3DS ones? Like Battle Subway and
Yeah, but this feels like the lamest incarnation of it.
I was repulsed by 3DS games, so I did none of those. So I was this is the first time I've done one of those types of things.
Yeah, this is the worst version of it.
Yeah, it just feels like playing
had-
Pokemon Stadium.
Because XY had the Battle Chateau, which at least had cool names for the ranks.
I've heard a lot of positive things about Battle Chateau, honestly. I can't speak for it myself.
I feel like the ideal post-Pokemon game thing would be like the Battle Frontier, but that's fucking gone.
People are on their phones.
Okay, Masada.
I wouldn't be so mad about the statement of they're on their phones. We don't have to make this if they didn't have two basically jokes making fun of the fact that they're not making it in that game. Where they're like, this isn't an alternate universe where the Battle Frontier wasn't made yet. So here's a monument saying we're making it soon.
Whoa.
That was a thing, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, in like one of the last cities, they're like, the Battle Frontier project has started. And they show like a little diagram thing in the middle of the city of what it's going to look like.
In this game, they do have a thing where people talk about, oh yeah, in some other region, you can battle on trains. It's real cool. Here, trains do nothing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just, they're like, it's a multiverse, guys. And I'm like, oh, God.
We passed up the champion theme segment, and I missed my opportunity to do my usual thing of coming out and standing for Iris's champion theme in Black and White 2. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I think that might be in my top 3, maybe.
Yeah, it's
I love how it's just not what you expect.
But
there is a level of
some Sailor Fuku shit. It is some fucking Lucky Star energy coming into that battle that I find hilarious. And fitting and funny because when you see her in Black and White 1, she's just a carefree child. And for some reason in Black and White 2, she's like, adults told me I should look respectable since I'm the champion. And she clearly hates wearing a dress.
Yeah, she's just a princess now. There's sometimes her song has a little bit of an intense climactic feel, but then it goes right back into bubbly music.
It's so fucking good.
Yeah.
That was funny. That's up there with my themes. I think it's Lance and Red, Cynthia, and Iris. I can't for the life of me remember Black and White 1's champion theme. The Elite Four
Yeah, I
theme.
don't. I just remember End stuff. and Gets's stuff.
Right. I mean, that's
you don't even
fair.
fight the champion as part of the story in
Right. You have to
Black
go back
and White.
to do
you
it.
don't fight him till post game.
Which is interesting. Like, I think it's interesting that they had, like, oh, that's not the real plot of this game. End's more important. And then you can go back and fight him to become the actual champion.
Right, like that was a very different way to conclude a Pokemon, and I think it ended up better.
And meanwhile, at the opposite end of the spectrum, this game is nothing but gym shit with terrorism thrown in at the last second. It's so...
Yeah, it normally feels like there's two plots in one of these games, and this game just does not have a team-related
And this
plot at
game
all.
has 3/4 of a plot, maybe.
I was gonna say 1/4. I mean, it's like nothing.
I mean...
I was gonna be generous and say half.
So there we go. There's the full
Because normally
scale.
they're
It's like, oh, you're going to do the gym challenge. Do the gym challenge. Also, I guess, bad guy.
Because
Maybe.
normally there's a gym challenge, and every 2 gyms, on average, the enemy team pops up and starts shit, and you have to go smash their faces in. And then somewhere around the 8th gym, you put them down, and then that story is concluded, and you go off to the Elite Four. But this just doesn't have that element of the plot at all.
Yeah. I still don't know how I feel about it, because I generally felt...
Yeah, it also doesn't have an Elite Four.
I felt incredibly bored by Sun and Moon's plot, and then insulted with how they missed opportunities with it. And I'm like, stop distracting me. Can we go back to the gym shit that I buy these games for? And then they said, all right, here's a game for that. And I was like, nah, I would have liked some of this to be a little bit better. But I do like the gym aspect of it, so I hold that in a bit of a higher regard.
That's crazy, just because it's like,
happening.
this is the most insulting plot I've ever seen in an RPG.
This game literally went, okay, KZ, you like whipped cream? This ice cream is nothing but whipped cream. Fuck you. And he's like, okay, I thought
what
really
I'm saying is that
cream.
Pokemon stories are terrible, and I'm glad that there was no Pokemon story in this game.
But what if it
Fuck
was
you.
better?
I think that's a little bit too much to ask for
fair.
Game Freak.
I like
Sun and Moon story was fine. The only major flaw was not being able to beat up Monster Lucamine. That was their cowardice showing.
I just went back to, I turned on Sun Moon right before we started doing the podcast.
Yeah.
I left that off right before doing the end game, the post game stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All of that, I did like 30 minutes of it. That was so much more interesting than anything in this game. It's just like, oh yeah, Lucamine is messed up by that, so they're taking her to the other region to try and fix her, and you're doing this to figure out what's going on, and Looker's here. It's like, there's things happening.
What are these characters? I'm getting overwhelmed.
So
I don't know
like
Sun and Moon, that. Clearly, they didn't care about that because Ultra Sun and Moon cuts all of it.
Yeah, fuck.
She never becomes evil. She face turns. She's like, because an extra bad guy shows up to stop, things before she could become evil. She's like, whatever. I like my kid.
Is it the motherfucker from X and Y?
No, it's the legendary of that, and like a weird.
Okay. Because in Sun and
Moon, there's a lot of weird stuff in that.
In Sun and Moon, there's one scene where some fucking motherfucker from X and Y walks up, and I didn't even remember him when I played Sun and Moon.
And then his helmet came up, and he said, "Remember me?" And
then he leaves, and he's never relevant again. So I was wondering if they had gone back to him.
Are you talking about the dude from Gen 5's Elite Four who shows up?
No, I think they're from X and Y.
Because Grimsley shows up in Sun and Moon and helps you.
No, it's not Grimsley. It's not Grimsley.
Okay, I don't remember any of the other cameos.
He had a really fucking stupid haircut, so let me see what it was. I'll remember as soon as I see that motherfucker's hair.
Okay,
We've narrowed it down.
I was
teams, right?
Real quick. I was really critical of X and Y's plot because it directly followed up 5th gen, and 5th gen version 1, Black and White version 1, I thought was really good for a Pokemon plot. I was like I was telling Eric at the time I was playing it many years ago, I was like, this is a surprisingly good plot for a Pokemon game, and like is honestly interesting to stick in here around all this Pokemon battling. And then Black and White version 2 follows that up with like where the characters are now and literally taking place later in the timeline and all that stuff, which is also interesting to see how the region develops. And there's a completely different threat. And then you go to X and Y, and I'm like, I fucking hate the writing in this game. I dislike Sword and Shield so much. Dance. I feel like I should go back and play X and Y. I feel
Don't
like
talk about that motherfucker who dances. I hope he gets hit by a car.
Why are you so violent?
I hate him. He sucks. Your entire fucking mystery gang and X and Y is terrible. If there's one concept I'm glad that Game Freak seems to have put a bullet in the head of, it's having the alternate sex player character be a character.
Oh yeah, where they just, you didn't pick this gender, so they're I don't know, they're a character, I guess.
They're always bad.
I mean, I can't sit here and praise Sword and Shield for that, because every fucking character in this is a drastically missed opportunity outside of Bede.
Yeah.
Like fucking even Piers is just like, I have this character development. It's not much, but it makes me the second most developed character in the story because you spent 30 minutes.
There was so much stuff in Sun and Moon. Like, it had the theme that Team Skull is all kids who dropped out of the challenge so they couldn't be accepted by society. And then you find Guzma's dad, and he's like, yeah, I beat my son until he got old enough to kick the shit out of me and left.
This is upsetting to hear about because I gave up on Sun and Moon, not because I thought it was bad, but because early on in the game, it really railroads you.
Go to that trainer school.
A lot of super linear stuff. And
yeah, it has stuff like
beating Sword and Shield. I'm
Guzma.
like, oh god, I should have beaten that. What am I doing playing this one?
Guzma and Kukui, the professor, had like a rivalry as kids, and he went and became a professor, and Guzma dropped out and became the leader of basically a delinquent gang of other people who dropped out. Like, there's a lot more interesting stuff that's going on.
If I was to pick my favorite like champion in general, I'd almost pick Sun and Moon's, like the original one of that. I just thought everything around that was like the coolest one. I feel like that in general, that game ends really, really strongly.
It's a shame that this, because and here's the thing, people don't understand when I talk about this. I don't think it's impossible to make a game as good as 5th gen ever again. I don't think that at all, in the least.
It'll probably just take a few years of not making a Pokemon game, which is fine. If they're not pulling in enough money with Pokemon,
somehow,
maybe just one. They just need to skip a year.
Just take 1 year. Just skip a year.
I mean, this game could have been much better if it shipped next holiday season.
I mean, ideally two. Ideally,
yeah.
They need to at least skip until they clearly did not take any time to upscale their production to being on a sort of console.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about how the Wild area is a bad PS2 game.
But they did this on the 3DS too. Like, compare Alpha, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and X and Y and their tiny little mini-me characters to Sun and Moon. So they didn't even wait for that. So maybe like 3 games from now we'll have an actual game that feels like it was developed on the Switch primarily.
Well, here's the thing. This is regressive over the last entry. Like, the cinematography and all the camera work and stuff and the animations they put into Sun and Moon far outpace this game. There's lots of actions in the cutscenes and moments in that game. And then this, they mostly just stand around. It's so weird.
Sun and Moon felt like the most they were firing on the most cylinders.
It's so bizarre.
Since 5th gen. And I was actually wrong. The motherfucker I remembered is from 5th gen, actually, in Sun and Moon. Colress shows up in
holy shit
Sun and Moon.
Holy shit.
He totally does.
Wait, fucking what? God.
Yeah, he shows up in Sun and Moon at one point.
Apparently,
like, hey,
there's something that I never did in those games where he's running Neo Team Plasma.
Oh, that's raw.
Fucking damn it! And I played this
You've been
one.
bamboozled yet again. Oh yeah, he's also like in the battle tree with that.
Oh yeah, that dude.
Yeah, Colress is a badass.
The problem is just they constantly have to make a new Pokemon every year. Think about when the Switch came out and like everyone was excited for it. They made the most slapdash remaster of Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
Immediately. Year it came out one day short of a year. Like it came out even faster than an entire year. And then they were like, Let's Go's coming out. And then this. If you'd cut one of those games or both of them.
Should have been both.
I don't know. I like Let's Go a lot. You could cut Ultra Sun and Moon though.
I mean, it would have been nice if they cut Ultra Sun and Moon.
They should have just worked on making a port of Sun and Moon to Switch. And then we could be working on something new after that.
Bob, you have cucked me of the denouement of my fucking statement here. I would have appreciated a Switch quality port of Sun and Moon far more than this game.
Yeah.
There was a ton of buzz that they were going to do that, and then they just didn't.
Yeah, I remember that. Like Eclipse, there's like something that they were saying that they were going to do.
People put the Sun and Moon layout on top of a Switch screen and like, looks fine. Looks like almost like it was designed for that.
Now,
until Let's Go was announced to that Pokemon thing, like Eurogamer and so many places were pushing, it's happening. And then Let's Go got announced, and then
just like was Pokemon Z from all those years ago.
But yeah, Sword and Shield is a lot like Boneless Sun and Moon.
Just one.
Because it fucking sucked and everybody knows it.
You know, I'm hypercritical of 3rd gen because, once again, it's the only other entry in this entire goddamn series that doesn't have the full Pokedex or day and night cycles.
Okay,
but more importantly, there's a lot of flow issues with that game from how it's laid out. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is just straight up a better game than Sword and Shield.
I don't know about that because I couldn't even finish that.
I probably agree with you if it was on a platform that if it was on something that I would enjoy like engaging with, you'd probably be right, because I did go through all of it and enjoyed it for the most part. Like the Dex Nav stuff was cool.
Yeah, that feature from Black and White 2 that was absent in fucking X and Y is a really cool feature.
Yeah, I enjoyed I enjoyed the various boss fights, the complete overhaul and redesigns of Team Magma and Aqua.
Those are good redesigns. Ever since X and Y,
that soundtrack that they did for those games is nuts. I think the post-game story is kind of dumb, except for the part with Deoxys. That part's cool.
Where you get to go into space.
Put on the spacesuit.
So, like, in that's... I'm just all around disappointed by this. I think the wild area shows promise. I wish we got a better game. But, you know, we've been critical of this game, even though I've stated multiple times I enjoy various parts of it. There are many new Pokemon I love, and I love basically every character design in the game. But, you know, people are going to think we're really negative people. So now we have to make fun of really negative people. Have you guys seen that tweet where it's like 143 Nintendo employees get you this bad Pokemon game, whereas 133 PlayStation employees get you Days Gone? The entire internet goes, have you played Days Gone?
Okay, one of you played Days Gone. Two, in both cases, there was hundreds and hundreds of free outsourced workers.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're looking at how many...
I was like, oh.
How many people are employed by a company based on their Wikipedia article? Like, are you nuts? Also,
this is the big Sony fanboy.
Dude, Days Gone spent, what was it, 5 years of development?
Yeah.
Days Gone spent 5 years of development. Fucking the new Pokemon clearly didn't.
2.
I'd be surprised if it was 2 full years in full development.
Yeah, this game needed more time. I feel like if they support the full Pokedex next time, they better integrate the wild areas into the flow of the game. The game has a plot, and I don't know.
We have to finish this game. We're asking a lot of a new version of it. It needs to add a plot. It needs to add some equivalent of the Elite Four. It needs to get all the Pokemon back in it. Like that's a lot.
I don't think if they make another one of these, right? They make Super Sword, Super Shield. They're not going to add an Elite Four because they're just going to do the tournament thing again.
Oh yeah, we're just talking about for Pokemon to be good again. Like for me to be like, oh yeah, I need that at launch. Like that sort of thing. Instead of for it to continue. I feel like they're
just going to do a Gen 4 remake next because Gen 4 is one of the most underrepresented set of Pokemon in this game. And I feel like there's a reason.
Oh yeah, no, I floated that theory in the past on this podcast that they may just be like, here's your Gen 4 remake. It looks pretty. It has all the Pokemon.
I hope it's an Auras tier remake and not a Let's Go tier remake.
Hopefully we're done with that.
Yeah, they said there's no plans for it, and I wonder. You want to play Let's Go Johto?
No, I don't. I just want something at least as good as Sun and Moon again. I still think 5th Gen is the best one, but Sun and Moon is the level where I'll go, this is a good Pokemon game.
Right. Like, this is a clear step down from Sun and Moon. And even Auras, in my opinion.
I'll generally say that.
This is
it's a step down in those ways. If you put those games on consoles, I'd say they're better 100%.
Oh, keep in mind,
Sun and Moon
like Casey
had a Switch version, it would be like 2 points higher than this.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I fucking hate the 3DS. Like, I don't like gaming on that thing. There's a lot of great games on the 3DS. I don't like how the hardware is designed. If somebody makes a brilliant, 3DS HDMI out, that would drastically improve me playing things on that.
Same. It hurts to hold in my hands because I have the oldest model.
Mm-hmm.
It gets incredibly hot for me, and it runs terribly almost the entire time.
Yeah, that
hardware is the worst it's ever been.
Yeah.
I don't remember when that game runs at 30 when I was playing it.
Yeah, Sun and Moon really needs the new 3DS.
Oh yeah, I've been playing it on there. I forgot. I didn't think about how bad it would run on the regular version.
Oh, yeah.
And even on the
that's
new,
been the problem.
On the new 3DS, you go into any battle that has more than 2 Pokemon in it.
Yeah. I remember
it just shits itself.
It goes all wild on you.
I watched someone do Wi-Fi battles with friends where they're doing the duos, so it's 4 people. And someone's like, oh man, I might live this. They said this 10 seconds after the hit showed how much it did. Because they were on an old 3DS, and it's shitting its pants to show the attack that it's so far behind.
Sounds like 4th gen again.
I think it's crazy that they're trying to make Pokemon expand it out in so many ways. Like, okay, you actually see the Pokemon out in the field and stuff. It's like, make the battles smoother. Work on that. Your battles can be going at the speed of a Persona game by now. They can.
The battle systems in Pokemon to this day feel like early Super Nintendo levels of how they flow.
Yeah.
Like, when you get poisoned, you still have to see the poison effect, then get a text box telling you got hurt by poison.
Okay, so a lot of people don't know this, but I've actually hacked open the most recent Pokemon game. And the reason why is every time you do an attack, it commits it to the blockchain.
Finally. And I was really, Cooking Mama was the better game to utilize the blockchain this year.
And I actually feel like this game might flow worse than previous ones.
Does it? I would have to see.
Well, because,
I could entertain
when
that.
There's stuff like you going up the elevator with Hop, it's like it would go so much faster in a previous gen because stuff like the trainers popping.
Because I'm like, the battles just feel the exact same.
It just feels like there's all these little things that,
because the Dynamax really bloats out battles. Like, that's why I stopped using Dynamax. I didn't Dynamax for 5 of the 8 gyms. Or 6. 6 of
But
the
by
8
the
gems.
end of that elevator, I was gonna be like, okay, getting on with it. There's like a 10-second animation when you throw your next Pokemon out. I'm just gonna kill it. Hurry up.
Shut up and bleed, you motherfucker.
Especially since that fucking elevator, the content elevator, where
Yeah.
you have 3 doors and 3 identical teams come out of each door one at a time.
I like that. That's not only is it that, it's also the battle tower. So they really saved money.
God.
Well, as they said, Leon went to Rose's tower and retrofitted it overnight to become the battle tower.
Yeah, he did that overnight while Sophie was getting her degree.
Sonia?
Sonia.
Sonia, she gets her degree in the middle of the story. It doesn't even happen at the end.
No, she gets her lab coat in the middle of the story. She gets
She becomes a professor at the end.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she became a professor when she got handed the lab coat.
See, it's
Yeah,
that
that's-
easy.
It
Job
is.
description on coat.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, her grandma just gave her a promotion.
It's as much valid at the end as it is in the middle. Like,
Hey, that's pretty cool.
when they act like so much stuff has
So
happened,
we
and
got-
it told us a 3-day time gap happened. I was
I
like,
know.
what?
it's fucking hop near the end of the game. He looks over at me and he goes, "We've really been through a lot over the past few whatevers." And I'm like, "Wait, how long do you think it's been, kid? It's been 23 hours I've been playing."
I'm afraid it's been 8 years.
It's been 8 years.
Marnie's a gym leader in those 3 days too. Like, so much is done in 3 days. It's insane.
Marnie goes to challenge Leon, and the fucking Pierce shows up, and he goes, "You thought I'd let you do this alone?"
I like how the only one that convincingly can go, oh, that happened to this character. All right, I'll take it, is Beads, because he disappears for half the game. So you can
Yes.
kind of justify, oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, yeah, he's the gym leader. Okay, sure.
The plot of the story actually agrees with how that's delivered for once.
Bede's story is not great, but it rises to the level of a story.
Right? It's like a
Which
story.
most
and the
of
rest
these
isn't.
Let me put it this way. The only level of storytelling beneath this in the cost-saving dimension is Destiny 1 with the online lore cards.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Eternatus came from the moon.
That is really low, but I agree.
Well, I mean, like, if the cutscenes were more dynamic and actions were occurring instead of characters literally standing... It feels
you
like
remember-
a prequel. It feels like a Star Wars prequel.
Remember when Leon's like, "Oh
Stop
man,
it.
thanks for coming out to help me, but I got this." Then at 2 seconds later, he walks off screen and we're looking at a news article about how cool the thing he did was.
Oh, yeah, you mean right after you beat Spike Myth Jim?
Yes.
And then it's like, oh my god, there's an explosion. What's happening? And Leon's like, I'm going to run ahead. 2 minutes later, right down the street, some guy's like, look at this news article over that thing he did because he already had a battle with that thing, and they took a picture and they published the article, and now I'm looking at it. It's been 2 minutes.
It feels like there should have been a dungeon. If there had been a dungeon there
When
that you went through.
the zero budget dimension.
Dan, it took me at least 20 seconds of you explaining to go, oh yeah, that happened, didn't it? I forgot about that part.
You forgot about the story? It's so memorable for good reasons,
I-
right, Bob?
I like the champion running around doing things. I feel like that should continue to be an element of these games.
You mean like Adler did?
Alder. And honestly, I still can't
Alder
remember
only
Alder
kinda
doing
did it at
jack
the
shit.
end.
I feel like
Yeah, he only shows up at the end to battle in, and then he loses.
Well, no, he shows up a little bit before that, and he was like, man, what chuckle fucks. Anyway, see you at the gym. Like, that's how I remember it, but it's been, 7 fucking years since they made a
If
game
they're-
that good.
Like, if they're gonna ape,
Hold on.
well, I mean, Sun and Moon's okay.
Allegedly.
If they're gonna like ape RPGs, I'd like them to actually do more things with the gym leader and the champion than just have them say 5 lines and then never appear again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be neat. Yeah, Leon's a great opportunity to do that. He's literally related to someone who's you see way too much.
Okay,
And
now, Now,
Crasher Wake does more things than the gym leaders in this.
wait, who?
Crasher Wake from Gen 4.
The dude with a lucha mask, he's like, oh, Team Galactic is causing trouble. Come with me and let's go beat their ass.
Oh my god, that guy.
You forgot about Crasher Wake? He's so iconic.
Dude, it's been 12 years since that game
Oh
came
my
out.
god, what? Okay.
What are you Googling them?
Yeah.
Look, I'm trying not to bully this game too hard, but fucking
Are you sure?
Like any
Gold
game.
and Silver had you team up with Lance to go through a rocket lair.
Right,
Yeah,
like
I mean-
any other Pokemon game.
Right.
They're all
that's-
better. It's crazy.
That's the part we're trying to get across, Casey. Like, we're not trying to bully this game. We're just pointing out the
Oh
franchise
no, I
has
get
been...
it. I totally
Okay.
understand. I'm
Oh.
joking around. It's fine.
Okay.
I totally get the fact that yes, there's nothing in this game besides the act of doing the gyms. They put all the stuff you do in Pokemon exploration into the wild area, so every route takes you 40 seconds to do.
His
Well,
name in
longer
Japan,
if you-
Maximum Mask, guys. That's
Wait,
hilarious.
what's his name?
Maximum Mask?
Is that his real life name?
His Japanese name, I don't know.
Oh, his Japanese name. Okay. I was like, what the
That
fuck?
counts.
What the fuck? Are you telling me his actual name? His parents had him. They said, we're going to name him Maximum Mask. That's some damage.
Mhm.
So-
You've damaged your
So
child.
we got on a 400-hour tangent, but we were supposed to say what teams we beat the game with.
Well, before we get to that, we've brought up objective problems with this game. I'm going to go full subjective mode. Not enough Milo.
Yeah, objective problems.
I'm just saying there could have been way more Milo in this game. Milo could have, I don't know, say
Okay,
there.
that's an objective problem,
say
not
they-
a subjective problem.
Oh, thank you. So there could have been an event, right, Bob? Like,
Uh-huh.
say an explosion goes off, there's a crisis, a car starts falling on you and it pins you down. Milo could have lifted that car.
I mean, Milo, he could have had to get into a bench press competition with someone.
Milo
you never
could-
know.
Milo could dig me out of a cave. You know, we could be lost in
Milo
a cave.
could beat up a Machamp.
Yeah. He could have had an arm wrestle contest with a Machamp.
You could have shown a Wooloo at it.
When he could have had a swimming competition with me. And then afterwards, we help each other apply our suntan lotion.
Take off our shirts, play some
I
volleyball.
feel like this is getting very specific.
Bob, we're just bringing up some objective problems with this game.
About time. About time you start complaining about things that matter, Dan.
Milo definitely matters. I don't want to
He does.
misconvey myself in the least.
He does, the little man inside the giant man mech.
No, he's a big boy. Please do not make fun of him. I'll go ahead and talk about my team. I most recently beat the champ with. I got Orbeetle, which is one of my favorite Pokemon this gen. It is that bug psychic with insane speed and really good stats in general.
Like the ladybug mech looking thing.
Yes, it's named Orbeetle because it is a mech-looking thing, which is a reference to orbital frame. Really good. I had a Turnitus. That dude just came out and died. I was like, hey, use your Dynamax cannon on Charizard, and then it didn't do super effective. And I'm like, right, Dynamax Pokemon not the same as Mega Evolutions. Gotcha. I totally fucked up. His type is still Fire Flying. I had Rillaboom, who was strong enough by the end of this game to just kill anything, basically. Because Wooden Hammer is a very powerful move that does a recoil. 1 second. I had Corviknight, of course. Corviknight's a badass. And one moment. I accidentally hit a button and it went to the game. That's the only way I can check, so I have to
You've been denied.
I have to close the game and reopen it in order to see who my team was. Oh no. Whatever. There are some other Pokemon. What was your teams?
Phil, what was your team?
My team was Aegislash, Gardevoir, Dreadnought, my starter Cinderace. What the fuck were the Toxtricity, and what the fuck was the last one? Oh
Yeah, Pangoro and Boltund, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Boltund's great. He's a good boy. He's a really good boy. He's got that iron jaw.
Oh, Weavile.
That strong jaw.
Weavile's cool.
Weavile is cool.
I've noticed you don't have any new Pokemon except for your starter.
And Dreadnought.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
Toxtricity.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm half, and I went into the fight with Hatterene, who was my fairy type, and then his Haxorus one. Guess what? You're the slowest new Pokemon in this game, so I'm just gonna mulch you. And I better go get something that has some speed.
Let me tell you about Boltund, and it's play rough or rough play, which is a fairy type move.
Oh yeah, that's how I killed his Charizard.
He's like, what the fuck? You don't have stab. What are you doing?
So this is a weird thing.
Uh-huh.
Did anybody else notice how many designs in this game feel like Kirby enemies?
No, can't say that occurred to me.
No, not really.
I guess I'm not
'Cause there's
too
at
in touch
least
with Kirby. I
three.
don't know.
3 out of like 90 plus, they're doing okay.
Well, I mean, 3. I mean, did you notice there was more than? I feel like more than one is enough to establish a pattern as being a thing I noticed. Not, I'm insinuating it was intentional, Casey. You always fucking do this.
We're not having this discussion on the video.
Look, why are we talking about the Kirby energy in this when we should be talking about the furry energy in this?
I could just talk about my team.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that might be a good place to start.
I've got Inteleon. My starter Inteleon, I named 007.
Yeah, because he's the 7th one in the Pokedex, and he becomes the secret agent. It's really great.
Yeah, that's exactly what that means. Good old Bubble 07. I've got Feel, who's my Toxtricity. I got the low key one, so instead of being having like yellow electricity and like more stuff on the chest, it's blue, more chilling out. I've got Bobtopus. He's pretty good. He's my Grappaloct, which is the pure fighting octopus.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool.
I've got my Obstagoon, which was the like the Galarian Zigzagoon full evolution, which it's funny that you just catch this and it shut B down the entire game. Just one Pokemon.
Yeah,
I put Pin Missile on it and he couldn't get a single Pokemon down.
I mean, I didn't even have to pull my team out to shut B down. All I have to say is reply guys have no rights.
Just his angry
He's
face is
not a
all that you
reply
see
guy.
the rest
He's a
of the game.
YouTube. He's a video essayist.
He can be both.
Yeah. I've got Appleton, which is the giant plump apple pie dragon. Picked him up. I thought he was all right because other people playing with me were using the other one, so I just decided to pick this one. And then possibly the greatest Pokemon they've ever made, Mr. Rhyme.
Mr. Rhyme's fantastic.
He's pretty good.
As soon as I realized, is that a fucking Mr. Mime with a bow tie and it's ice? I was losing it. And then they're like, what do you mean it evolves and its belly gets a Mime Junior face that blinks at you?
Ugh,
What's up, Bob?
that's horrifying.
Incredible.
Do you
It's
think
incredible.
do you think when Ash's mom officially makes that Mr. Mime Ash's new dad that it's going to evolve into Mr. Rhyme?
Nah, different versions, unfortunately. Can't do it.
Tragic.
She can go trade it in at that in the gym in
get
Verina's
nice
main
one.
town. Yeah.
There's also one of those for a Yamask.
I almost got that, like the Yamask with its incredible evolution, which you can only get if it's taken 49 points of damage and you stand under a rock in the wild
There are
area.
some clown evolutions in this. I think the most insane one is Surfetched, where it's just fuck you.
Get 3 crits in one fight.
What?
Yes, that's how Farfetch'd becomes Surfetch'd in this.
Wow.
It's literally make him
You get
such a
knighted.
big Chad, he gets knighted.
Hope you have a King's Rock.
I guess I should go into my party. That was all yours.
Yeah, I'm
Casey, right?
excited.
Yeah. What's your party,
Yep.
Bob?
I always make a point to try and use nothing but new Pokemon.
I bet that was rough.
Yeah, this game has like there was a
Why?
bunch of new.
This has the best set of new Pokemon in any gen since like 3.
This game has a lot of new Pokemon in the very first area, and then I saw like one per area for the rest of the game. So I got Cinderace, my starter.
Yeah.
Boltund.
Mm-hmm.
Barraskewda.
Barraskewda is really funny.
Barraskewda raw.
I love it when he gets big because you only see the side of his face. Just
I feel like the whole game, I felt like he was too weak. I bet his stats are also actually terrible.
That's fine. I used Wishy-Washy and Sun and Moon. Its stats are terrible.
Hadarena, because, need to use a new psychic.
Mm-hmm.
Corviknight, of course. And then most of the game I was using Eldegoss.
Eldegoss, yeah.
Eldegoss.
How did that go for you?
It was pretty decent. I honestly just have it out for the sake of catching other Pokemon, because it learned Sing real early on. And you just put them to sleep and catch them pretty easily.
Oh, I didn't even realize that fucking thing was new.
Yeah.
I feel like
Really?
there's a dozen plant types that look very similar.
Oh, you're just grass type racist.
yeah, we've established that with
yes,
behavior.
it's the worst type.
Dragon's only super effective against dragon.
Yeah, but every dragon type has like a billion stats.
No, you're supposed to counter with it has many resistances, you fucking noob.
Oh, feckless neophyte.
Keyblade.
Anyway, are we about to start the new Pokemon good or not knife fight?
I don't.
I've never encountered a Pokemon game in years that I'm like, why is every design good?
I don't hate a lot of them. I hate some of them a lot, but
What's wrong with
start
Obstagoon,
throwing them
Bob?
out there.
I mean,
What's wrong with Obstagoon other than it makes me uncomfortable?
yeah.
What are you talking about? Obstagoon is great.
Obstagoon is incredible.
Yeah, most of them just make me tired. I'm like,
You,
just please stop.
I saw you make a tweet that was like, Hop realizes every starter sucks, so he made Wooloo his starter, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
the spoiler cast.
And then my Wooloo evolved and became bad.
Every starter
when they say
is good.
if horns aren't used for combat, it's used to impress women.
I feel like
this
my main problem was every starter has all become like little humanoid man. Like I honestly started thinking, are these like Leon's foster children? Is he just pawning them off on us?
I mean, Inteleon might be the worst one about that because it actually has normal human hands, which unsettles me a little bit. But
yeah, I don't.
I mean,
He's gonna hand you a joint.
It's also a punk rocker, and its fin is like a mohawk, and it's supposed because it evolves into an emo kid, and then it evolves from the emo kid into like a David Bowie-esque androgynous rocker guy. I think that's cool.
Honestly, I don't hate the starter designs, except for the second form of Grooky. Sweet Jesus, did that suck?
Yeah, it's bad. Rillaboom is Eric Carr from Kiss. It's raw.
Stop!
I mean, he's right.
But the thing with me, honestly, isn't even the aesthetic design of the starters. It's the fact that they're all single type, which is really weird because I feel like
They're cinder type, and
most people have been asking.
then it feels like they can do a bunch of moves that others can't.
I feel like most people have been asking for Game Freak to change the starters from the same three types for some time, especially since grass type has issues. But instead of doing that, they didn't even dual type this time. They're just single type. It's so weird. It's so strange.
There's a lot of stuff in this game that feels like it should be dual type that is not.
Yeah, I mean, freaking Grapplelocke is like,
Yeah,
only fighting.
my
What the heck?
octopus.
It's
I ran
fucking
into one that was
incredible.
level 50 and it was harder than the last gym, and I was like, all right, I don't know if I want him as it's a water type. Someone's like, no, it's pure fighting. Like, what?
Like, Poltegeist is pure ghost.
was in the
Berserker
water.
is pure steel. Cursula is pure ghost. It's not even water anymore.
Phalanx is fighting, which I don't think anyone saw coming.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a bug.
I like Phalanx.
Oh, I like
is
Phalanx.
great.
I like Phalanx a lot. It's covered in metal. I figured it was steel.
Yeah,
I thought it would be bug steel.
Yeah, like bug steel.
Feels like what I
So
would
I was like,
call it.
ha, you dumb bitch, I've got fire. And then it wasn't super effective and I lost it. I'm like, that means it's
And you
not
get
bug
weird stuff
or
like
steel.
right?
Like Kaparaja's line, Give Curry, is just pure steel, and it feels like it would be ground in steel or something because it has
Oh,
a fucking
really?
Yeah, you think
It has a
fire.
fucking
It's
a backhoe. Its face is a backhoe. Its Gigantamax thing is, what if its trunk became an excavator?
Yeah, it does go that direction. I never caught one. Oh wait, I may have, and it just went straight in the box. What is it? It's just steel?
Just steel.
That's weird.
Huh.
But yeah,
Okay,
like
okay.
my second I was gonna say those second evolutions of all the starters are really bad. They look like they're almost the same model, but with different heads.
No, I love Raboot. Is my favorite Pokemon. I love him.
He's got hoodie pockets.
Yeah,
Okay, let me look
he's
this up.
great.
I gotta look
got
up these
hoodie pockets.
designs now.
He's a little weeaboo.
Yes, he's a little Naruto fanboy. It's fine.
Yeah, he's his fucking Naruto headband, and he has like a hoodie with the collar pulled up over his face.
Yeah, no, I like Raboot.
If I
This
found
aisle's
the second
funny.
evolution of Inteleon, I would have just named him Kylo Ren.
Fair. He's got some strong emo energy.
I mean, he's
I like-
supposed to be. That was intentional. I love it.
I also like Dragapult a lot, which is the pseudo legendary of this. It's Dragon Ghost because it's based on something that went extinct.
Oh, is that it? I thought it
Yeah.
was darker than that. I thought it was like it's based off a crashed plane.
Oh, if you want to go dark, you could just think about what they did to the fucking fossils in this game.
Yeah, no, that's messed up, and they made all the fossil
Kill
Pokemon
me.
lousy.
Oh, I
I mean,
didn't.
Cursola is pretty dark.
Oh, you didn't do the fossil stuff, Dan?
No, I didn't do the fossil stuff.
Where you make homunculi?
I know about it. I just didn't
It's
get to
based
read
on when they were shoving the fossils together in the wrong places because they were just like, yeah, this is surely we found them in a similar location.
it. Or as we like to call it, the origin of fossils.
Yeah,
Because we were like, oh shit, look, it's a creature, I swear. God.
Yeah, so
I
you
think-
end up getting some with a dumb dinosaur body with like weird electric head and shit.
I think the curry is really weird.
The curry?
Okay, did everybody? But I didn't figure out how cooking curry actually worked until today. Did other people figure it out?
What? There's a tutorial.
What do you mean?
It's not just do the thing it says to do as fast as you can.
Oh yeah, because if you mash it too much, the fire gets too hot and it causes black smoke. Or if you stir it too fast, the stuff leaks. Like
I didn't pick up
boiled
on
over.
either of those until somebody told me. I'm like, oh. Of course, I also only cooked curry like 4 times. So
Yeah, I was just saying it's weird because up until this point, I feel like they kind of stray away from eating the Pokemon, and now we have like, oh yeah, we're cooking. Like this is
now here's
burger.
a Krabby inside the curry you can eat with the Krabby you caught.
Yeah, it's really messed up. I was just like, when I saw that, it was too much.
I
That whole
feel like
camp-
they must
that
have
whole
just
camp stuff's
gone-
real good.
They must have just gone, fucking whatever.
The camp
Whatever.
stuff would
People
be
won't stop asking us.
the camp stuff would be really good if the game was designed in a way where I felt it was necessary or meaningfully helped me.
Exactly.
Right, this is a game where you get fly this 2 seconds into the game, basically.
Well, not only that, like every major story event heals the shit out of you. The wild areas aren't between the gyms, and you can access your box to switch out your team if they're really hurt.
Yeah.
Like it's so many layers of this game isn't difficult enough for camping to feel mechanically helpful. I still did it.
From a terms of mechanics, I agree. I just liked hanging out with my Pokemon and making food.
Right. And I think it's really neat in that way. Like I played with my
One
Pokemon
time, a
and
wild
cooked.
Pokemon came up to me and said, "Hey, I like your camp. Can I just join you?" And then they crawls into a ball.
Oh,
Yep.
I never got that.
Yeah, that can happen.
But it would be nice if the game incentivized you to cook a little bit more.
I think between all the other things that cut into the difficulty, making it so you can access your PC anywhere is the ultimate bullet in the brain. Because it's like, if Pokemon's about, like I said a moment ago, it's more about endurance than an individual battle being difficult. And you can just keep switching out your Pokemon. And if
Well,
you're,
they shut it off in some places. Presumably, if this game had actual dungeons, they'd shut it off there.
right,
Right.
if it had a really large labyrinth, I'm sure they would have shut it off, and then maybe things would have gotten
You go into
difficult.
the cave and it just goes, yeah, the reception doesn't reach because the cave's too
Yeah.
causing interference.
No, instead you go in the singular elevator shaft and they go, oh, it's not working in here. because you're a terrorist and attacking a major
there
corporation.
in the gyms.
Yeah, so it's. I wish the camping was in the game that I feel would have been wrapped around the wild areas, where the wild areas played more into normal story progression.
Yeah, if we had some sort of thing where it was just like, this is all one wild area with towns in it.
Or even just like there are 4 major wild areas.
Yeah. Well, heck, yeah, like you were saying before, just have a wild area be a cave.
I mean, I'd even be fine with like
Right.
just have like smaller wild areas separating the towns as routes.
Yeah. I mean, you could have multiple, you could even still have routes and then just have a wild area connect to multiple key areas. Like, oh, there's this cave off over here, but you're not going to go to that until you go to the gym and learn that the gym leader's in there, and then you go there. You know, normal RPG stuff. Like building multiple destinations in one large accessible area and make that your wild area.
I don't want them to bring back HMs, but I would like them to at least bring back what Sun and Moon did, where it's just like, we'll give you this utility Pokemon that gives you a similar thing that but doesn't take up a room slot on your team, because like not having any kind of path opening abilities means every single blockade has to be there's a team guy yelling there. You kicked 40 of their asses already, but this one you just can't.
Yeah, that was way too heavily leaned on.
All you have is Surf. Surf is the only option that changes what's happening, because now you can access water areas, which is what makes the wild area feel a little bit underutilized, because there's not enough of that. Like, you could bring back maybe an ability that's like, oh man, the slopes from Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, where it's like, oh, your bike's good enough now, so you can go up the thing.
Put a fucking cow catcher on the front of your bike now. You can run it through rocks thanks to Rotom.
I mean, going back to like Sun Moon, like I started to turn back on, I was like, whoa, all of these HMs that Style Things Field was talking about is neat to be able to ride a horse around for no reason, or ride Tauros.
Yeah, it was
like,
an evolution of the thing
Machamp climb a cliff holding you on its back.
Yeah, it was like an evolution of the thing that happened in X and Y, where everyone was disappointed because it only happens for like one stretch of road. Like,
actually, was that X and Y, or was that for some reason?
In
I
X and Y they promoted it with the really cool thing of like, you can ride your Pokemon around this one stretch of thing. It's not yours, by the way.
Yeah.
I liked one slight thing they did in the Gen 3 remakes, where if you rode a Sharpedo, you would go twice as fast while surfing.
That was cool as hell.
That's great.
What a nice detail.
But yeah, I think when because I feel like camera controlled exploration Pokemon stuff's going to be in games moving forward. I feel like they just need to flesh out, if you're going to go to the same one, there's more stuff that you can access when you have better stuff, because as it is now, there's just one. It's just surfing. Like, I almost want to think that if they're doing Gen 4 remakes next, they might just change Mount Coronet in a way where they try to make that more open, since you go back to that a decent bit in that region. Because otherwise, I don't know how you would even do that stuff if you're doing that one next. At least how you would include camera-controlled areas without people going, no, you've changed too much.
It's weird that the camera, they should let you not fully turn the camera in town, but at least let the camera like slightly turn, like not go all the way around
tilt.
you, but tilt like
Just
you
a bit.
expected.
Yeah.
Anything. It seems crazy.
I don't understand why so many of these towns feel like they were built on a 2D plane.
Because they wanted them to look as visually impressive as possible, so that way they could cut a trailer and people could be like, holy shit, this game looks amazing.
I think Sun and Moon had more perspectives when you ran around in towns more than it did.
It did. Like, you go into somebody's house and it's like, these are 4 rooms in a straight line. This isn't a house.
You would know, you make houses.
That's an ambitious house in this game. A lot of the time,
4 rooms.
Here's one room.
Man.
Yeah, you
Marty wish he had it that.
You go click on a TV, the TV turns on with the same generic texture and doesn't have any text. I go turn on TV and Sun Moon, it's like, hey, this is such and such is happening. Oh man, this food is cool. And it's just small details. Really
a lot
help
of
a
them,
universe.
But it's a lot of them. It's a lot of small details.
I'm going to be the least fair that I've ever been to any game. And for
Not
the
enough
record,
Milo.
this is not,
I know.
Great. Here
this
we
is not
go.
an actual. This is not an actual complaint, and I'm not going to stick on it. It's just a thought I had, and it was a stupid asshole thought, and I realized it then, but I thought it was funny, so I still have to say it. When I saw the posters with the unique Pokemon language they came up with with this, my first thought was, oh, they don't want to have to fucking localize visual assets in a bunch of games, lazy fucks.
I mean, that's 100% true, but
It's also why we don't have voice acting.
Okay.
I would
when
not.
he said when he said the posters, I thought it was going to be when you go up to the posters in this game. They go, these are the most popular Pokemon in all of Galar. The posters are Charizard, Gengar, and Machamp.
Yeah, I saw.
Can
Not
we
a-
stop jerking off Gen 1?
Apparently
I'm sorry,
we
people
can't.
complain too hard about Gen 5, and this is the most insane course correction I've ever seen. They keep doing it.
Gen 5 having all original Pokemon is what makes that a huge part of what makes it the best one.
Also, it was really funny hearing people shit on Gen 5 for being linear and then playing this. They're like, you go through the whole region in a circle. I'm like, why is that a problem? That means it's linear. What the How do you think your video games work? Like almost all of them, you're going from one point to another. It's just it's a circle where you start to go, wait a second, I'm walking in a damn circle.
Hey, Dan, this game is 2 circles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this game
it
is
is.
2 circles, literally a railroad. Like you're just walking down one long hallway that's curved into a circle. Anyway,
That's why I don't like talking about the linearity of games, because I feel like you get nothing out of it. Because then people will go, well, this, I remember it not being this.
Games
Usually,
by
yeah.
definition are linear, and linearity has lots of useful things in game design. You should try to hide its linear more than not giving a fuck.
I don't know. Like, I don't want to get into that discussion because that could be its own insane fucking thing. But generally speaking, you should make your thing a good experience and also make it feel like people aren't completely railroaded. This feels like really short hallways for routes. I mean, it just is. So that's where the problem comes in here.
I feel like even Sun and Moon even did that better, because it's like you have to do each island, so it makes sense that you can't go to the next island until you do everything on this island. So I think just by
And then
nature of being
the final island they did felt a lot less linear. It felt like a more open area, because it's the one that doesn't have many cities.
I didn't even beat that game, and the earlier islands feel like a grid of routes.
Yeah.
Like the second
You're right.
island
You're right. There
feels
are multiple directions you can go in the routes.
it's fucking
Sometimes you can go up.
Oh man, you can even go to a beach later on and then go different directions for that.
even in Gen 1, you could do gyms in different orders.
Anyway, we need to start getting our closing statements out because this is quite the podcast. Bob, are there any things you didn't cover or any parting thoughts you want to have before we make our final statements and lock our scores? Like, is there any tangent you feel like you didn't get to cover enough? Because I talked about Milo.
Right. Yeah. I feel like I hit everything. I talked about how frustrating it is that those gym leaders that are exclusive to versions just aren't even in the story. How there isn't a story.
Mm-hmm.
How awful it is in so many ways. We've gone on for so long. I
Okay.
think that we hit it.
That's fine. KZ, any tangents you didn't get to talk about?
Let's see. In general, I just really had a great time with this. I feel like the wild area just really is something I want to see come back, but really focuses in on having more areas that you naturally unlock, and I want the raid stuff to come back in some way, because group of multiplayer challenges sounds so much more engaging to me almost than even battling other people. Because
I feel like it could be expanded on in a more interesting way than fight a thing. Like if it was you and a group of guys going through a dungeon or something, that could be cool.
Yeah, like the level of cooperation when I had 3 other people on Discord and we were talking out how we're going to do this, because we're like, oh, the shield's going to come up now, so we shouldn't immediately Dynamax now. You'll do this. And then you think about, oh, some of those moves I don't think to use, like maybe Follow Me, or like maybe building some Pokemon that play support. It opened things up in a way I did not expect for Pokemon, so I hope that some of that stuff they take and refine it in whatever the next game is going to be coming out next year.
Because of course,
Mr.
Because
Field,
it has to.
any tangents you didn't get to cover or thoughts you didn't get to express?
So much stuff, and it's been since X and Y, but somehow this is the game where I feel it the most. It feels like there's part of Game Freak that's trying to drag the franchise into something resembling modern times, and then another group that's trying to drag it back into archaism, and they can't agree, so it just feels really frustrating, and it's not satisfying in either direction.
Okay. For me, I guess the only statement I want to make before we lock in scores, and I feel like most people expressed how they felt overall in that final segment there. I feel like saying this is a half step towards the Pokemon game I want to see is generous, so I don't even want to say that. As I said at the top of all of this, I think the way forward is through developing the wild areas more to work as a better substitute for roots. I don't think we need roots in Pokemon games, but I do believe we need distinct biomes with interesting geology and layouts that lead to multiple important story areas. And I think if they figure that out and they maybe develop raids into something I find more compelling, that would be fantastic.
you don't want just one big area that's constantly changing weathers for no reason?
Nah, I don't want to walk 12. I don't want to walk 12 feet and get.
No, what you do, Bob, is you go into your Switch, change the date and time to change the weather to what you want, then drop a rock into a hole.
I will do that with no shame. Somebody found dates where every single part of the wild zone is the same weather. One day for each weather type.
That's girl areas.
And
God.
I don't think that mechanic should be in the next one. I don't think it should be like, this re-rolls every 24 hours. Hope it's the weather you need to find that Pokemon you want.
But see, here's the thing. I think I didn't even get to talk about all the weather effects look like shit.
They really
do.
Even in battles.
People just have to look at it to know.
Like the sandstorm, every effect they do is basically set up on a cylinder centered on your character. So if you turn the camera to follow the effect as it flies past you, it looks so unbelievably bad. But yeah, I think more what I was actually trying to say is the weather stuff is a substitute for the fact that the biomes in this aren't that distinct. There's basically a lake, a small desert, and grass, and that's it. Like some areas have rocks. There's a bridge going over one thing, but it's not like roots in a traditional Pokemon game. There's no snow-capped mountain. There's no caves in the wild area. There's no diversity. So the over the top beating you on the head fucking weather effects are just a substitute for that. Clearly,
I actually thought of one other thing.
Okay, go ahead.
This is I thought was a funny note of what did Game Freak see when they went to Britain that made them make their swimming area the ice area. I was like, they've been scarred by something.
Okay.
Yeah, and all the trainers are like, I'm cold, as they're in a bathing suit.
Yeah. Like,
okay.
what is,
I was thinking about mentioning it, but I was like,
You go 10 feet outside of that gym, and it's like, good, you can swim now. And it's like, this is ice-capped water. Are you insane?
Maybe I don't want to do that.
And I find my pure fighting octopus.
On the biome front, it's really weird that there's one little chunk of the wild area that has a desert biome.
Oh,
It feels like there was originally intended to be more different biomes, and they were just another thing that got to get it out in a year.
Yeah, I honestly, this game in many different ways, like the plot and there's no Elite Four and the wild area and how it's completely oil and water with the roots. It just feels like they didn't have enough time to finish developing the wild area concept and deliver on it. So I hope the next one does it. Anyway, we should, if no one has anything else to say, we should make a super small statement if we feel like we need to and lock in the score.
Sure.
I'll go ahead and lead this. Yeah, I've spent a long time mulling over what does it mean to be in a franchise and feel regressive from the prior entries in so many different ways. And living up to that standard, but also improving in ways that are seemingly more superficial. Does that make this game truly terrible? No, but it does make it a really strong disappointment. Generally speaking, I would never recommend a game below an 8 to anyone to play, and that's how I feel about this Pokemon game. I think it's the most passable experience, aside from Let's Go, which is obviously just a different thing. It's going for a different thing, which is why I feel like that and maybe a port of Sun and Moon offers more value. So I'm locking in my score at 7. I've spent a long time thinking about this, and yeah, that's just how I feel about it. Bob, would you like to go ahead?
Sure. Yeah, as I've said throughout this podcast, I feel like it's one of the worst RPGs I've played through. Like, bar none. It's a huge setback for the series. I can't score it any higher than a 5. Like, it's that bad. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone.
Yeah.
Play any other Pokemon game. That's how bad it is.
Mystery Dungeon count?
Sure. I haven't played those, but probably.
Welcome. Look forward to our Avenging My Youth of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
I was referring to the mainline games. I've played all of them except for I played them all the way through except for the Gen 3 and Gen 3 remake and those extra releases like Platinum and
Black and White 2.
Black and White 2.
How about Pokemon Pinball Ruby Sapphire Emerald?
Dude, that was a fucking banger
sweet.
of a game. That's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, okay, thank God. I was about to say, man, those boss fights.
I only got that game last year, and Tosh and I spent hours playing it.
When I played it, I played that game when it came out, and I was like, what the fuck's a Rayquaza? This looks incredible. What's happening? This is magic.
Yeah, that game's really good. That game's really, really good. Stop talking about it. You're making me want to play it. I'm too busy for like the next week and a half.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, just a week and a half.
Hopefully. So, Bob, you're locked in?
Yeah, I'm locked in.
5 out of 10. Okay. KZ?
Overall, I'm still pretty happy with the game, though I accept if any of the previous Pokemon were souped up, supercharged, and put on a console, I would probably end up ranking them higher, but just my perception of them and the not enjoyable machine they were on really hampers it for me. I'm going to keep my 8, but I won't be shocked when we do a spoiler cast of the next Pokemon game. If it's the way I expect, I'll probably knock this down at least a point, because I imagine their next one will be a bit more polished because they got experience for this one. It's like how X and Y got upgraded by Sun and Moon in that way. But yeah, gonna keep my 8.
And Mr. Feel.
After this discussion and thinking about all the ways this is just regressive compared to Sun and Moon, I have to lower this to a 7. It's such a downgrade in basically every way other than it on a more powerful platform I don't hate to use. In basically every other way except new Pokemon designs. I think they're pretty equal in terms of that being good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a step back down.
Yeah, I think the wild area concept's neat, but it's not worth the cost.
Right. It wasn't delivered on in a way that made it worth it at all.
Offset the rest of the design. Yeah,
it didn't even occur to me to like imagine the alternate version of this game that just did the same route structure, but there was no wild area.
That'd probably be a better game. Like if they just hadn't bothered with the wild, if that had never come up.
Yeah, we probably have fleshed out routes, dungeons.
Yeah.
Lots of things.
Yeah, fleshed out routes, because all the fleshed out stuff is just the wild area. So every route ends up becoming a line.
And for me with the wild area, I just played through it as it asked me to in the story. I walked through it twice.
Oh, I was there all the time. I did constant raids and stuff.
Yeah, I joined Dan for a few raids, but that was it. Like I didn't really heavily explore it because I didn't really feel like I wanted to. Is anyone else? I know there were like
go ahead.
Game here, but I don't even like having the Pokemon be able to run at me outside of grass. Pokemon's such a slow game that I want to be able to finish a fight that's gonna take like a half a minute after you finish the fight to actually get back to the world. So I often just set it down, and then I'm in another fight because
this happened to me.
Ran on me.
This happened to me. Because I forget, it can leave the grass, so I'd be like, I'll go get a glass of water or something. Like, oh damn, I'm gonna fight.
It happened to me once,
fools.
and I laughed really hard when it happened.
Same.
because
I was like, oh shit.
Because I'm just in the bathroom and I hear I'm like, oh my god.
Well, on the one hand, Bob's point. On the other hand, sometimes a Pokemon comes out of the grass and you tell it to fuck off and call its mom a bitch, and it turns around and goes back into the grass. So who's to say it's good or bad?
I
prefer this system over previous games. I'm like, you know what? You nailed it. I don't have to engage with the Pokemon battle if I don't want to in the wild areas or routes.
I honestly think that the fact that there's Pokemon that don't pop up and you have to hang around in the grass is stupid, and they should get rid of that.
Oh god, that's what's happening, isn't it? I didn't even fight those.
There's two different pools. There's overworld Pokemon and grass Pokemon. Pokemon you only encounter by seeing a shifting exclamation point, then you touch that part.
The grass Pokemon pool should not exist.
Yeah, I thought those pools were great. I was like, there. It satisfies both parties. People want overworld stuff and people want grass stuff.
This discussion actually remind me of one critical thing I meant to bring up front as a part of the difficulty curve thing. If you can hand select by running into them which Pokemon you fight, that makes leveling insanely easy. Especially since EXP all is there from the beginning. You can just run into battles you can one-shot them. So by not having it be a random encounter battle with a randomly selected Pokemon, they made leveling drastically easier in this game. You know, we forgot to mention how long each of us had played. It just occurred to me. Oh well, I'll throw it in.
Play times?
43 hours.
I played 37 hours.
Yes, my time, I wrote it down. When I completed the game, I was at 24:52, and I've played like 10 hours of breeding and raids and stuff in addition to that. So like 35 something.
Yeah, when I beat the game, I was at 22:30. Felt like it was a little short, but I don't know.
That's about how long Sun and Moon were.
I wouldn't know.
Somehow had a million times more things.
And this is the number one thing I feel like people should take away from what I'm saying about this game. I'm actually really excited to go play Sun and Moon now. Like, just the bits I played of Sun and Moon, I felt like I spent most of this game thinking about, man, it's really not as good as, man, that's crazy. And that was
like, that was closer to a next-gen game than this.
That's what makes me sad, because even me, I'd like to reappraise X and Y even and maybe look at it. Mm-hmm. But it's on that dastardly machine, and my only option is, well, I could buy a new model. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that.
You have a nice new PZKZ. There's a third option that can make the 3DS games look better too.
Cops, arrest Mr. Field right this instant. Right now.
Oh no, all those British cops with bright anime eyes that scare me are gonna come.
Oh god.
Good.
Oh yeah, too many of the face models in this game were horrifying.
Honestly, the cop's the one that got me.
Yeah.
I laughed really hard at the artist. The artist looking like they did made me laugh.
My favorite NPC trainer is the cabbie who has the pilot hat and the goggles on.
I like Dan, which is the cameraman who looks incredibly tired.
Oh yeah, no, that guy made me laugh really hard. His expression and the fact that he's just like, wait, we lost the battle. Does that mean the interview's ruined? It had a very GigaBoots energy of, wait a second, did that record right?
Oh man, it beeped. We lost it.
Okay, so
X and Y, have a lot of problems, but you can also rob a cabbie. So who can say if that game's good or bad?
I mean, that you could also put on roller skates and do tricks.
The roller skating thing was neat. But anyway.
I ended up playing 20 hours for the main story, 2 hours for that post-game thing with the jiggly hair. My final time is like 65 hours. I just played a bunch of the wild area, played with friends, bread, started building up the Pokedex.
See, I don't.
Yeah, engaging with
And
that
I'm
side
at
of
I'm
things
at
is
219
painful.
Pokemon and having a great time. I'm glad they cut those Pokemon. Fuck them.
Fuck you. I know people who literally skipped this game because they couldn't bring over their old Pokemon.
That sounds like a bunch of babies, right?
Also, it's really funny. Like, I've heard multiple people be like, I started collecting the Pokemon in this because it seems the most attainable ever because they cut all these Pokemon. I'm like, this is the equivalent of people being like, I haven't saved money until now, but now I'm really into crypto.
but them cutting Pokemon actually made me do that because I was like, why would I catch? There's like 800 of these fucking things.
KZ.
And then this, I'm like, oh, there's like 400. It's totally feasible. I might try it.
Ugh. You know that they're just going to release that app in a few months. It's like, hey, get all 800.
Are they?
Yeah, that's
Are
what
they?
they
Are
said.
they gonna just patch this so there's 800 Pokemon in this game?
No,
No.
they're going to.
They're not going to patch it.
God, no.
But KZ can complete the Pokedex in this game and feel like feel satisfied.
Yeah, that's my point. I hit 400 Pokemon. I've completed the dex, and it gives me a shiny charm and a certificate.
You can. They always give you something for completing, like the amount of Pokemon you can get in the game.
Right.
By legitimate
Right.
means.
The regional Pokedex. Yeah.
Right,
Each
like-
game has a regional Pokedex.
You're right. I guess Game Freak are criminals then.
No, just each game has a regional Pokedex of much smaller than 400, so it's been achievable relatively in most games. Anyway, I just thought that was a funny thing I noticed. I wasn't even trying to comment, but my first thought was the whole crypto joke. Anyway, so
Yeah.
I
You debunked me.
why do you
Okay,
keep saying it like this?
What?
Why are you saying I debunked you? I'm just saying. I thought this was funny because there were
joking.
fewer regional Pokemon before this gen.
I'm not being serious. It's fine.
Okay. Anyway, so I'm locking it in at 7. Feel you changed yours to 7?
I changed mine to 7.
Okay, and then Bob, you're 5,
Mm-hmm.
and then KZ, you're 8.
Yeah, I have it all plugged in here. We have a grand total
27?
27. Beat Astral Chain by 1 point.
Well, thank God. I don't want to live in a world where it's like
Bob
the newest.
made it close.
Yeah, no, I'm tempted to lower farther.
I'm gonna be real. Every time that it cut to my guy in this story, I was like, it's Astral Chain again.
Astral Chainment.
I even made my Pokemon trainer look basically like the guy I used in Astral Chain, so it was like they're making the same face.
Here's the thing, though. At least they didn't kill your dad in front of you. Okay, that's the one way it's different.
We gotta stop talking about Astral Chain. You're gonna make me lower at my Astral Chain score in the Pokemon podcast.
Can't do it. Sorry.
Instead they gave you a cute mom, so I guess it is a little bit better than Astral Chain.
The executive producers of GigaBoots for the month of October are Vincent Boberg, Nicholas Cameron, E. Lee Broyles, Star Falcon, Spaceman Spiff, Danny Richardson, Dryzard, Red Blaze 27, Third Birthday Wen, and Cappy. Thank you very much to our executive producers, and also these guys. If you want to support videos like this, then head on over to patreon.com/gigaboots and become an executive producer today.